progress.
Where's my cheat sheet? Good evening, everyone. This is the Select Board meeting at 6 o'clock. Today is Thursday, 3rd, 2026 of October. And just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast via our local cable access channel, WCAT, Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. If anyone in the audience is recording, please let us know so we can inform everyone. To get us started with our meeting, I'm going to ask you to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to start with discussion and possible vote to appoint Danielle Fontaine to the position of part-time administrative assistant recreation coordinator for the Parks and Recreation Department at a step minimum on grade A-1 wage table. Anticipated vote.
I cannot hear anything you're saying. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
First thing on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to appoint Danielle Fountain to the position of part-time administrative assistant / recreational coordinator for the Parks and Recreation Department at a step minimum on grade A1 wage table.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we do have Daniel Fountain with us this evening. We do have members of the Board of Park Commissioners here. We saw Sue Ramsey and Lisa Boucher here. Jess Sweeney, unfortunately, is out of town. She's not able to make it this evening, but we do have a candidate to fill the position, the part-time position of administrative assistant / recreation coordinator for the Parks and Recreation Department. As the board may recall, this is a new position that was recently approved at our annual town meeting. And we had several applicants apply for the position. We conducted interviews and offered interviews to 5 individuals. One responded to us, which is Danielle Fountain. We interviewed her. She comes with quite a bit of experience. She's currently with our Parks and Recreation summer program, where she's worked and volunteered. She's been a lunch monitor at our school, as well as a cheer coach. Everybody who's got kids in cheer, she's been there as our cheer coach. So she's very well experienced with dealing with youth in our community. She has emerged as a top-level candidate. She has some certifications in first aid and CPR, as well as some other licenses in cosmetology. So this particular position is new. We're excited to bring her before the board for consideration. She is here this evening. If you have any questions or want to bring her up, she is here.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm
Danielle.
Fountain.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Seen you around.
Yeah, just a few times.
Yeah. So just your name and just
Yeah.
a small introduction.
I'm Danielle Fountain. I live in Warren, obviously. I like to think I'm a big part of the community. I work at the elementary school. I am a cheer coach, like you said. I'm also a board member on the Little League Baseball board. Yeah, I don't know.
It's very good to see you here and that you qualify very good for this position.
Thank you.
You guys guys have any questions?
She's just very humble.
Yes, she is.
She does so much for the community that she doesn't
I
want
know.
to take credit for.
Yeah, no.
She does an amazing job.
Thank
I know
you.
from around town too.
Oh, yeah.
As we
Thank
all probably do.
We're just a big family.
We are, yes.
questions.
No questions? So,
I'll make a motion.
welcome and make a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to appoint Danielle Fountain to the administrative assistant and recreational coordinator for the Parks Department at the minimum step under the A1 wage table.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. Welcome in.
Thank you kindly.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Very good. And thanks for doing this. too.
Number 5.
Could you do number
Yep.
5 too?
Next thing on the agenda is discussion with the Board of Assessors with a possible vote to appoint Mr. Jack Feeney to serve on the Board of Assessors until the next municipal election. Anticipated vote.
Mr. Chairman, we did have a letter of interest expressed by a resident, Jack Feeney, to fill the vacancy on the Board of Assessors. I do see one of our assessors here this evening, Deb Hardy. I don't see the other assessor, Don Mikowski. So I don't know if the board can open up their side of the meeting as of yet.
No.
Not yet. So you want to table this?
Please.
Well, we don't need,
Um,
we're just appointing them.
You're right.
They made a recommendation.
Well, it's
He's
it's a
interested.
joint meeting between both parties to appoint for this
So we have
position.
to wait for him?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was there. He is.
I will try to see if I can reach him.
Okay. So
All right.
Okay. So we're gonna table that to the end of the meeting? Or
Or just
till
whenever.
just
In
Don
line.
shows up?
Yep.
Once we start the dog hearing, we can't stop the dog hearing until.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe, does Mrs. Hardy, do you know if Don is planning?
Yesterday, today's coming.
Okay,
So,
all right,
I don't know if he's running late.
okay.
he's probably looking for parking.
Alright,
Okay. So,
we have to pass over that one, say we go into the dog hearing now.
okay.
Get it done with. Want me to go over? it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, back to the first thing on the agenda. Public hearing will be held to determine if nuisance or dangerous dog resides at 65 Summer Street. Owners are Mr. and Mrs. Randy Smith. Anticipated vote. Get discussion from the ACO first.
Okay, so the ACO, please, could you?
Are we gonna swear in?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
You got that?
Where's Karen, by the way?
She's upstairs taking notes, so there's a personal matter.
Oh. She has it in here somewhere.
You can Google it, right?
I could swear in there before.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody that's gonna be taking part in the dog hearing, I need you to stand and raise your right hand. You gotta take an oath, okay? So if you're gonna be speaking on behalf or against any part, if you're gonna be speaking, you need to take the oath. So raise your right hand, okay? I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth,
I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
the whole truth and not, so help me God, so help me God.
So help me God.
Sorry. So, yeah.
Good, thank you very much. So we're gonna start with the ICO.
Hello,
Hi.
I am Tamara, also known as Tammy Dufresne, with Animal Control here in the town of Warren. And I was first brought into communication with the dog owners, Randy and Sarah Smith, based off of some complaints that were being called into me. The person making the complaint wanted to remain anonymous because they were fearful of any possible neighborhood drama that might happen as a result of their complaints, but the complaints were that the dogs are constantly getting out. The person doing the making the complaint can't let their dog out, and always has to have a leash for their dog in case the other dogs come running in. And they felt like the dog owners were often not going after them. That was the main complaint. The other complaint was basically that, the dogs are being put on this tie at the front door. They're not being walked, they're not having any exercise, so the dogs on the tie end up breaking off and then they're running throughout the neighborhood. And also, they're pooping on the sidewalks, that it's right outside the front of the home. So, it was kind of difficult with the fact that the person wanted to remain anonymous, but I did reach out, and what would happen is because the person didn't want any neighborhood drama, they kind of tried to look the other way for a while, and then it was happening so much that they felt like they needed to make the complaint. So for every handful of complaints that I got, this was happening a lot more. And so as a result of this, I did end up increasing my communication with mainly Sarah Smith, and talking about the the fact that this can't keep happening. And so that was a process, and I think I was making some progress with the fact that, I was contacting her more, that this was happening more, making her aware of, how neighbors were feeling, because there was initially just the one person, but then another person would called me a couple times, and both wanted to remain anonymous. So as the communication between myself and other people in the neighborhood, including the dog owners, was increasing, it became evident that there were more than 3 dogs at the home, and at this point they would need a kennel license. So I started, I described the process to Sarah Smith. There was some questions about getting a kennel license here in town, and we really don't have any restrictions. I brought a copy of what the inspection report is, and this can actually be found online. If you Google Mass ACO resources, there's some forms that are uploaded from the state for ACO convenience. We don't have our own form, we don't have our own criteria, so I use the state form. And the only conditions that are listed on here are dogs are housed in a humane manner. They're able to stand, lie down, turn around freely. It's kept at ambient temperature, maintained in a sanitary manner, has adequate lighting, have access to clean, fresh food and water, adequate exercise space, and that there's veterinary records available. So there's not really a lot of criteria on that. You don't actually have to have a physical kennel space to get your kennel license. But in talking to Sarah Smith, she was interested in building a kennel space for the dogs. So she asked for some time to build this, and she'd keep me updated with what the process was in her building of this. And when it was completed, she let me know, and I went and I did the inspection and saw that it's a metal, what I would describe as a chicken coop, with wiring, and it was attached to their very large shed, and they had put a mattress in there for the dogs to lie down, and there was a door that they could go in and out of the shed into the coop area. And the shed actually has electricity, so they can have a fan on there in the summertime, and they can have a heater if they so choose. They're very furry dogs, so I don't think the cold temperatures would really affect them. They're German Shepherds and Huskies, but they had the option to put heating there if possible. So I went to do the kennel inspection, And the structure that they built, although they did not have to build it, the structure that they built looked very nice. And I was very hopeful that this was going to solve a lot of our problems with the dogs running out. As I was leaving, I did see that tie system that they have, was still there. And basically, it is a 10-foot tie, which is the legal minimum length. What I noticed was a problem was that the tie splits off in two so that they can put 2 dogs on there, and these are very powerful dogs, dogs that like to run a lot. So the tie was connected to their front door. It went through a window of their enclosed porch, and there was a tie that connected to their front door. So it is very possible that these dogs could get off if they truly, truly wanted to. And so I talked to Sarah about, that she built this very nice enclosure. She has cameras around it. She built this nice enclosure. I'd really like to see her putting the dogs back there, because it gives them more space to walk around. You don't have to worry about any poop on the sidewalk. And she had mentioned that she had plans to connect another chicken coop run area to that, which would then increase the space that they had. So I filled out the form that all criteria were met for the kennel license. The dogs do have to be vaccinated for rabies. She said that she did get them, but the way the form was printed out, it looked very confusing, and she was going to try to see if she could get a better copy of that. And I said, go to the town clerk's office, and they can look at it and see if it's what they need. So that's where we left it. When I last checked a week or so ago, I do not believe that they had actually licensed the dogs, and I sent them a message and I said, we really need to get this done. But in the meantime, the dogs have been, according to neighbors, have continued to be out again. And this time now a third neighbor was involved and said that she was not going to remain anonymous, that she wanted to formally say what was going on and get something done. So in the process of, talking to Sarah, she had mentioned that one of the times the dog got out, Randy had been cooking and it was getting smoky, and he opened up the window and the dog hopped out. And there was another time that one of the dogs dug underneath the chicken run, dug a hole underneath and went underneath. So she put pavers there around it to try to prevent that from happening again. My last communication with her was after a disagreement with one of the neighbors, and she said that this was a lot of drain on her mental health, and she was coming to the conclusion that she felt like maybe it was not the best that they continued to have all these dogs, and that one of the dogs who frequently gets out, I believe his name is Ice, that they were going to rehome them, and then from then on there, I started talking to Randy more, since she felt like the stress level was getting too high for her. So that's basically my level of involvement in what's brought us here today.
Okay, thank you. Have any questions?
No.
Any questions?
No.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I may, I just want to let the board know that we have received, for the record, our administrative assistant Karen Dusty had received 4 complaints, 4 written complaints about dogs being off leashes, not being maintained by their owner, and that should be entered into the record, those emails. There's one from a Katie O'Leary, a Kyle LaValle, a Scott Emerson, and a Larissa Van Vleikenberg.
There's also several calls from police dispatch.
Yep.
and a police report attached. From Officer Sojin.
Thank you. You may sit down.
Chief? Go over
Please
police
hold
reports.
with chief. Police chief, could you come to the podium, please?
Sure.
So we have some reports.
Yeah, Karen asked for the reports from Rutland. From what I can see, there was one in January of '24, one in September of '23. One in, I think that's the same one as September of '23. Nope. And one in October of '23.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Do you have any questions? David?
No, no, we got everything in the report.
Okay.
You gonna take witnesses first? Witnesses first?
Yes, we're gonna have the witnesses come to the podium. Any witnesses?
All at once?
No, just one at a time, but when you come up to the podium, please announce who you are and where you live, for the record. Okay?
Hi, my name is Katie O'Leary. I live at 106 Chapel Street in West Warren with homeowner Nicholas Pluta. I also want to note that I did submit videos to the Dropbox that was requested for review if needed. I'm here because I have to be, not because I want to be. I love animals. I think they're great. I have no issues with these dogs. I've never interacted with them. I'm just sick of seeing them on our cameras all the time. I'm sick of seeing them running loose with no leashes, no collars. I'm concerned for people who are walking about or even using their own properties because we don't know these dogs. We don't know their behavior. Like I said, I've never interacted with them, so I can't say anything about their behavior. It's just been over a year of turning the other way, of these dogs getting loose. And I'm sick of, messaging Tammy. She has a hard job on her own. I wouldn't want that job in any of the world, but I just feel like at this point, there's nothing else we can do but stand here and say we need help because everyone who has dogs on the street wants to walk their dog outside their house, and we never know when these dogs are going to be loose, and we don't know how many they have. I mean, there's times where there's all 4 of them are out, or there's more than 4. I don't even know how many they own. I know there's puppies. There was puppies at one point. There's puppies now. I don't know. I'm just a concerned citizen because I'm sick of seeing the dogs around my property and waking up to my blink notifications. It's been over a year, so I think at this point we're kind of at our wits' end. But I also have a question too because I did ask Tammy in the town bylaws. I think it's section 12, 12A. I think paragraph 3. It describes a public nuisance dog, and then if she deems the dog a public nuisance, which means it's out on other people's property, it's not with its owner, there's a fine. I asked Tammy if they were ever fined, and they were never fined for any of these times that these dogs were loose, or that how many complaints. I mean, she must be sick of hearing about us complaining. I mean, at this point, I would say, okay, we got to do something. Again, I'm not saying the dogs are dangerous or aggressive. I've never seen that. I'm just sick of seeing them on our cameras and on our property. With no remorse or anything from the owners to say sorry they're loose or they're getting around you, or what if somebody hits a dog in the street? You don't want to be liable for that either, so you're protecting yourself. But that's basically all I have. But other than that, in the videos that and the pictures that were submitted.
Do you have any questions?
No, just so to be clear, the board declares the dog a nuisance dog,
Okay.
not the ACO.
Okay.
So this is a nuisance dog hearing, not
Okay.
a dangerous dog hearing. And there's 2 different categories. So if the board finds evidence that they are nuisance dogs, then we can set conditions
Okay.
on the owner, and they would have to abide by those conditions.
Good to know. Yeah, reading the bylaws, I didn't understand it. So thank you for
To be
clarifying.
clear, yeah.
It isn't clear.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not
it just
clear.
says if it's a nuisance dog, but only we can declare it a nuisance dog, so it's
Right.
not like it's an automatic thing.
Any questions?
No.
You said, go ahead.
Oh, I have one question. So, you're Catherine?
Yes.
Catherine O'Leary, so,
Yes.
sorry. Right. So in your email, you state, "It is not fair for anyone to have this fare on their own property."
Mhm.
Do you have fear being on your own property from these dogs?
Well, I don't know the dogs, so I can't say that I would be comfortable seeing them on my property if I was outside.
Okay. I'm just trying to clarify that, you know, what the fear is.
I'm
You just-
fearful of
you
any
just don't
dog I don't
know.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The notifications, can you give us a description, what was the time or the day that they were more frequent? There was a, kind of like a pattern, or?
Honestly, I mean, because I was looking the other way for such a long time, I didn't save all the videos, but I mean, there's sometimes at night, sometimes in the morning, like early morning or late at night. It really doesn't matter, but I don't see them during the day. It's like either early morning or late at night. So probably when they're being relieving outside or whatever they're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You wanna, well, I can show them what it
You wanna look them now, the videos?
Yeah, you have the videos attached?
Yeah. Yeah, we provide her with the tools to send us all the videos.
Come on.
Ma'am, if you could just kind of stay up at the podium for a minute, because we're probably going to ask you a couple questions as we see the videos.
Okay, so let's see.
So this is one of the dogs dragging a leash of some sort. This was in June.
And whose door is that?
That's my back door. This is over at LaValle's house next door. I don't know the date on that. That's at Sylvia Pratt's house in the backyard. I think that was in September. Oh, August 21st is top left. That's Sylvia's front yard. August 17th, so that's a different day. And this gentleman here is actually new on the street, and he was trying to bring the dogs home because they were out. That was August 21st. And then you can see all 4 dogs are out. That's September 15th.
Who's the house across the street?
That's Scott Emerson.
Okay.
He's not here today. And this is at my home. I think this was in June.
Is that outside your garage?
Yes, in our driveway.
Same spot, right?
That was in August. And that was at the LaValle's house, looks like in September.
No, that's just a quick one.
This is my front door. That was in June.
Is that the same day as the one, so the leash, is that dragging leash the same day?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Because we have cameras all around the house, so I think it was just walking around the house. That's a picture of a dog in the street from the LaValle's house. Another dog in the street. That's, I don't know what day that was, but. Yeah, that looks like in the summer. Another one in front of LaValle's. That's at Scott's house.
What's, oh, just, what is this for?
That's just a picture.
That's a screenshot. I haven't-
Screenshot.
Right, is that just to show the time or something, or is that what you were,
We were just looking, whoever had videos or pictures to send.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's, I have the same camera, so I know what you're looking at.
Yeah. This was just to show that the dog didn't have a collar on, which I know isn't a problem, but just that it was just in the front yard
Oh,
that
can you
that time.
expand that one? Where's the dog?
I don't know.
Bottom right.
Just the, oh, okay.
Looks fake. Standing still.
And then that's just one showing it dragging another leash. That's one of the
Oh,
shepherds.
did these play? Oh, no, this is a
No,
screenshot.
that's just a screenshot,
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
So I added this because I think it's for the board to see that the owners think this is a joke, that these dogs get loose all the time. Because she posted on Facebook that she's on Tammy's speed dial list. I don't know, in this day and age, who would think this is a joke, given that dogs are property and can be tied back to your homeowner's insurance, and any dog bite claims or anything like that, or anything that can ever happen. I work in insurance, I work claims, I know what happens. I just think that I wanted to show that this is something that isn't taken seriously by,
What's the date on that?
that is from March 12th of this year.
Whose house is that?
That's my backyard. I don't know what day that was. It must have been not long ago because there's leaves on the ground.
Oh, is that it? How do we get out of this?
That might be it.
23 of 23, yep.
Yep. Thank you. Anybody else? Who wants to?
Kyle Valley from 54 Summer Street. Again, pretty much everything Katie said, we've dealt with the same thing all summer. I put up a fence in my side yard to try to deter this, spent $1,500 of my own money to go put this up to try to help from having these dogs come in my yard. I can't sit outside without always looking over my shoulder, not knowing if they're coming down my side yard or up my driveway. I have a dog, very well behaved, doesn't leave 6 feet from me. I think David can attest to that. And why should I have to put my dog in the house or on a leash in my yard when obviously you can see this is a big joke and it's not taken seriously? So if you have any questions for me, it's pretty
Yes,
cut
sir.
and dry for me, so.
At any point, did you find yourself in fear of these dogs at all?
If I don't know a dog, I'm leery of a dog. I'm not afraid of dogs, but if I don't know the dog and I don't know how it's going to act, of course I'm going to be a bit fearful of it. Especially for my dog, I don't want something to happen to my dog. And maybe they might be friendly, they might be great, I don't know, but that's not the point. The point is we shouldn't have to deal with this day in and day out. There's 23 videos and pictures that you had that doesn't even scratch the surface. I mean, there's probably in some of those police reports that you have, this was 2 o'clock in the morning that this was going on. Windows open, trying to sleep, barking, it needs to stop. So,
Rich, any questions?
No.
Thank you.
thanks.
I did not write a letter, but I live next door to them. And those.
Ma'am, can you state your name and your residence, please?
Oh, Sylvia Pratt. And I live right next door to them. And the dogs, it's not every day, but it's often. They run through my backyard and my front yard. There's like sometimes 4 of them. I get videos on my phone. And I've lived there 40 years, and I have never been worried about going outside, and I am now, because they're all big dogs. Well, there's puppies now, but there's shepherds and there's a husky, and I think there's one that's part husky too. And it's wrong. There was one day I was outside, I was spraying for bees, and the dog's barking at me in my front lawn, and I yelled at Randy because he's sitting out in his backyard, and I told him to come get his dog. Of course, he couldn't get him. He came, but the dogs just run. They have no control over them, none. They call them and the dogs run. They'll ride up and down the street trying to catch the dogs. and it's not fair to the dogs or the neighbors. Please do something.
Any questions?
No.
No.
Did you,
Oh, Sylvia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sylvia, I have a question. Did you ever happen to have to pick up after the dog?
No. Never. Okay?
My name is Larissa Van Valkenburg, and I think that I'm the closest neighbor. And for me, it was like one day I heard that there will be hearing. And I was thinking that I'm the only one who suffers the most with my 10-year-old child. It's just me and my child there. So I did text Sarah about whining over like a, I don't know, dog at like 3, 4 in the morning, barking in the mornings, you know, and I do repairs. I moved 2 years ago, and my windows are open, and I can hear them waking up and letting their dogs out like at 3, 4 in the morning, and then they're like swearing really loud at dogs, and I was waking up like every other night, and when I was complaining to Sarah about noise, about dogs being unleashed, she said that she is loud and I have to deal with this. And I was thinking that it's just me who suffers, you know, and I was thinking, well, I guess I have to find another place to live. Also, it's my 10-year-old son and me and nobody else, and sometimes I do work outside in the garage and I turn around and there is a big dog and I'm freezing. Like I'm afraid of moving because I don't know dogs. It's not mine and it's not fair, you know. And several times I told Sarah that they're unleashed and they are on my property. And I guess for her it was like insult or something that I'm complaining. But, you know, I was also thinking to put up a fence, you know, to feel safer. And, but the problem, I don't know, maybe because I was at home and my windows were open all the time, like for 2 months, I couldn't sleep quietly, you know, and sometimes it's like, has escalated, you know. I had to escape for a couple of days to my boyfriend, you know, because I couldn't help it, because I wanted to sleep at night. And their schedule, I guess, starts at 4 in the morning, and, you know, it's like I have to sleep and I have to, you know, it just, for me, I thought that there is just, I have to deal with this. I have to think about, I don't know even. I thought that it will be an ongoing issue, and I was hesitant to look for help because, you know, I didn't know that such organization exists about animals control and stuff. I don't know what to do, and they are building this cage, and dogs are making holes and escape all the time, and I don't know how it will be. And for me, it's just a new thing that they are going to have more dogs, and I don't know, constant barking. I lived in 5 states, and it's my 10th town in Massachusetts, and I have never had any problems so far, especially with the dog. And dogs have been around like everywhere. All neighborhoods have many dogs. Have never had problems like this.
Thank you. Well, have any questions?
So you have a 10-year-old son, and you said in your email.
He's right there outside, waiting for me.
So you say you have your 10-year-old son and you're afraid that something might happen to your child from the dogs?
You know, just me. I can't be with him all the time, you know.
And then you also state that you just freeze and you're scared to death.
No, like I have this wave that it's like cold and getting like being afraid. It's
No,
a
I
big
understand.
dog. It's not like a small, but even small, you can be afraid of even a small dog. It doesn't matter. But
I just wanted to clarify that.
Mhm.
So you are in fear of these dogs?
yes.
Rich, you have any questions?
No?
Thank you very much. Anybody else before we have the owners of the dog? Nope. Are the owners of the dog here?
First, I'm gonna start right. I apologize. I did not mean my family.
Sir, you gotta address the board. You can't address the people
sorry.
in the audience, you have to address the
Christoph
board
Brady Smith,
specifically.
65 Summer Street, Westmoreland, Mass.
Seriously.
Again, I want to apologize to everybody. I did not mean for my family to bother people this much. Did not mean to do that by any means. To start off with, because I wrote a little bit of stuff down here and there along the way. My dogs can't reach the sidewalk, so they're not pooping
They're
on the
not
sidewalk,
actually
and
pooping on
we
it.
actually own it per National Grid. It is
And
my
we
property,
clean
from
it.
what National Grid says. We
One
pay
of
for
you
the
at a
telephone
time.
pole there that gives everybody the power. Yeah, so, they are all registered. They're all fully registered and everything like that. Town knows that and everything like that. Yes, I know the dogs have gotten out quite often before. It took me a little while to get the kennel properly set. It is very well now. I have concrete panels all the way around the kennel now, 2.5 feet long. When they get out of the kennel, when they get out, of course, they either slipped off their leash or they're dragging a leash. Because they're huskies, they get out. They're escape artists. I apologize for that, but that's what they are. I know everybody's saying it's been well over a year. Most of my dogs aren't even a year old yet.
All those little ones running around are not even a year old yet. And
When
second-
when we're going around looking for the dogs,
Yeah.
we are saying sorry to every
Yeah.
one of them.
And
We
they
have
all say, "No
100%
worries,
remorse.
it's okay."
100% always have.
Always.
Most of it, everybody comes out and helps,
Yep.
brings out food, gets the dogs to come. Had
Yeah.
an elderly lady down the road help
With
us
her
multiple
dogs
times.
come out. My dogs
And no
don't.
problems at all. My dogs have never hurt anybody. They've never hurt rabbits, squirrels, chipmunks, or anything in the area. We've never hurt any of them. We're always searching for them. Yes, one of us will stay home while the other ones go and look for them, which that's from the orders. I don't think anybody actually said that tonight, but that's from one of the complaints. There's always somebody searching for them.
Sometimes
One will
I
stay
get
home
that,
because
so.
when they come back, they'll open the door and they come back in. A few of the videos, the dogs were literally out for less than a minute. They were right back in my house. And I apologize. They should not be on somebody else's property. That is on me. I apologize. That's what it is.
Whenever they would get out of the kennel and we found the hole, we went and
Fix
resolved
it
it.
and resolve it, yes.
And I let Tammy
It's
know
going to
that.
be,
Because it's trial and error. We don't know where they're gonna dig out. We've tried to make everything that we can so this does not happen. But most of those videos you're gonna see there's 23, but how many of
Those are
those are the
copies,
same?
yeah.
Second, I didn't
Also-
make a joke of this. I did not
Stop.
make a joke, sorry. I
This
did
way.
not make a joke. I said it's a husky thing, and I go, ha ha, Tammy has all us husky owners on a speed dial, because when a husky's loose, she'll call us first. And that's all it was.
I've had
It's
some of
nothing-
these
it's
neighbors'
not-
children harass the dogs while they're on my property
I
as
have a
well,
video
barking
of-
at them.
Yeah.
It's been over a year because I didn't have my cameras up yet for my first dog, Nova. He's a big giant
The big
husky,
one with the
scary
stripe.
looking, but he's perfectly harmless. Throwing things at them on my
Yeah.
property while they're standing in the street.
Yeah.
I tell them not to, and I try to be as nice as possible because, for one, they're children, and no child should ever harass an animal, for one. But I did upload a video of one of the neighbors' children barking. You
At the
cannot
dog.
see the child, so I can't say that that's exactly what happened,
sister
exactly, but
knows
my
where the
sister
kid
was
was.
walking the dog on the leash. I don't know if it was done because I did it when I got here, because people showed up that I didn't realize had made complaints because I was never given the proper paperwork, I guess. Again, I apologize
We get
for my family harassing everybody and bothering everybody. They have never hurt anyone. They've never physically hurt anyone, and I don't believe they ever would. The largest dog that we had, is Shepsky, looks like a giant shepherd, and he looks like a scary dog, but he's the most docile dog in the world. But we brought him to her mother's house, where she has a giant enclosed backyard, 6-foot plus fence,
She has huskies.
and he's also escaped from
So
there
we're
as well.
familiar with them.
All right. Huskies are escape artists.
They're high energy whether you walk them or
Yeah,
not.
we walk them around the yards. Yes, we put them out front
They
for
have
them to go to the
full house.
bathroom real quick. Yes, and yes, we start at 4:15 in the morning because I leave at 5:15 in the morning to go to work, and then I'm not home again until about 5 o'clock at night. If I don't let them out, the dogs aren't gonna be able to go to the bathroom. I mean, they have to go all the time. They are not barking. 99% of the time, my dogs do not bark.
They're talkers.
The neighbors' dogs around us, you can hear them barking constantly. My dogs do not bark. I mean, they do, don't get me wrong, but it's a rare occasion. I go live every night for multiple hours.
I'll take care.
Anybody can go on there and see any video. I could have uploaded the last month and a half of videos for you guys to hear me talking to people while we're watching a bonfire or a campfire. My dog Bella has extreme separation anxiety, so she whines if she's more than 10 feet away from me. But again, she's the one that will go, so when she runs away, she's the one that barks at everybody because she just has separation anxiety. That's why we took her in, because the person that had her had no right having the dog. And so when she posted on Facebook that she needed to get rid of the dog, we jumped in and grabbed her because she needed a home that was loving and caring for her and could be treated properly.
And they all have collars on, so I don't know what this no collar is. They all have collars on.
A couple of times they have slipped off their collars, a couple of times.
Well, yeah,
Yes,
they all
it
start with
happens
that.
occasionally, you know what I mean?
They'll start with
One of
that.
the times
They're
out
growing.
front, we had one of the
Can we
dog
just have one of you
leashes.
talk at a time?
Sorry, one of the times out front, the dog's leash, it was supposedly wrote as a climbing rope leash that we bought off of either eBay or something like Amazon. The threads came right out and the handle just slipped right out. It just fell off of one side and the dog took off. Other than that, they've not gotten off the leashes on the front yard.
Or they've dug out and we
Yeah.
rectified. They have
Yes.
not, knock on wood.
There's
They
been a
have not
few,
escaped from
there's
that.
been a few times where, I'm trying to put them somewhere and say a rabbit came running by and he took off. They want to go run because they're huskies and shepherds. That's what they do. But again, I apologize. I never wanted my family to bother anybody this much, especially at all.
Where we put ice, my mom has 3 huskies. She has a big, huge yard that's fenced in. The dogs have access with a doggy door, in and out, all day long. They are even walked all day long, and they will still run to get out.
He
They don't,
just
that is
escaped the
their
other
breed.
night.
That is their breed, and we do everything. Every time there was a call, every time the dogs would get out, we are looking. I do suffer from other medical issues that people don't understand that I have, so sometimes I can't drive out. And we are actively looking. My sister back there does. She's the walker and she'll go. There's not much we can do. If we start chasing, they're gonna run more. So when they're out in the swamp area, we just wait for them to come back, call them, and they'll come back, but we're still outside. So it's not that it's funny or it's nonchalant, because it's not funny. It's freaking exhausting, and it irritates us just as much as it irritates the other people. So we rectify everything. If we were just nonchalant owners, we wouldn't care. We wouldn't fix the holes. We wouldn't try and rectify all of the issues that are going on with this thing. We have a kid that is supposed to be in fear of the dogs, but yet my sister's walking my bigger dog out, and the kid's banging on the screen door and barking. Okay? Kid's inside the porch. That was one of the videos I sent. If you're so fearful, why is the kid barking at my dog? My dog is just walking like this though. And then
Nova's
there's-
too old now. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's 7 years old.
They've never been vicious,
Never.
mean, or.
To anyone.
Yeah, anybody. Bella does bark, but when she gets out, she's the one that is the other ones, the puppies, when they go out, they run through the yards real quick and then they go in the swamp. And I was
And
showing
then they
Tammy,
come
I'm
right
like,
back.
look, that's my
And they
point.
come right back.
Muddy.
Don't go very far. With that said, again, I apologize, my family has bothered everybody so much. Just to me, dogs are family.
Can you try to get the video? It was uploaded like 50 minutes ago.
Does it show a juvenile?
No, it doesn't,
No,
no.
you just hear the audio. You hear.
They're only-
the
You can't see the juvenile?
Yeah.
No, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
No.
Oh, on the.
I don't have other
We picked
people's
it up on the
houses on
kennel
record.
camera.
I don't record other people's houses.
No. We have cameras around the house. There's an entrance, there's a kennel camera, and the kennel camera is the one that caught that. You'll have to turn the audio up because it's more audio, because we keep our stuff out people's doors.
Let me share.
Kind of looks like this.
So it says 24.
Rich,
Yeah, I apologize, I don't know if it even came through. Like I said,
this
it-
one?
Yep, that one. That's it.
Yeah, first.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
23, about 23.
I don't know, there's 23 videos, I don't know whose they are.
Show that one. Do you have audio there?
yeah, it has to have audio, you won't
Yeah, it's
see anything.
it's the beginning of it.
It's all the way up.
And that was on September 23rd.
Again, I'm not here to blame anybody else. I know this is my responsibility. Oh,
But
that's not the dog.
Go.
You can hear that, that's not the dog, you can see it in its face.
And where is the kid in this video?
on the other side of the spruce tree, inside a screen, is
How old
a
is-
closed porch.
How old is the kid?
10? Larissa, my neighbor's son.
Again, that's just, the dogs don't need that.
Dogs don't need it. If
But
you're-
again, that has nothing to do with it.
But
Yes, our
it's-
dogs got out and I apologize. I do
So is
not
that your
mean that for
property
that.
right
Yes.
there, those two sheds?
Yep,
Yes.
The brown or gray.
There's a shed in a house.
there's a
Yeah,
house.
shed,
a
house, there, the camera is mounted to the dog kennel,
Which is another shed in the
which
back.
is there, yes. Property line is just, I think, I wanna say about 18 inches behind that shed and across.
Rich, I'm gonna ask you to please go to Google Maps and open that address. Can you do that?
Sure.
Do you have any questions?
I do. So we have 6 dogs listed at this property. All of them have their rabies vaccination till 2025. They are licensed for 2024. I have Bella, Nova, Ice, Iris,
Yeah.
sorry, and Panda and Amori.
Yeah, Ice is gone now.
Ice is gone.
He was the big German Shepherd.
Oh,
His Siberian
Shepsky.
Husky.
Shepsky. Shepsky.
yes, Bella is the only German Shepherd. The rest are Shepskys. Luke and Nova are Siberians.
Yeah, you got
Luke,
Bella
Nova,
as
and
being
Bella
a
are-
Husky Shepherd
Yes.
mix.
Luke, Bella, and Nova are all rescues.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, so here's the dog kennel,
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
and this was
It's
where
an
the
old
dog
picture.
was.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you have any more dogs listed at that address,
No.
other than the 6 that I went over?
No,
Okay. Just puppies?
yes, they're puppies.
Well, no, we have
No.
one other puppy, but
Yeah.
he's not ready, old enough yet
He's
for
not old
everything
enough
yet.
for anything yet.
But that will.
But all the
eventually.
other ones are still puppies.
We did have other puppies and we did sell them to
Yeah.
other families
We're not a breeder.
in the neighborhood for that matter, that
Yeah.
very much enjoy the dogs.
So, with that being said, have your dogs ever bitten anybody?
Nope. Nova bit me, but I was breaking up something between us.
Was that the October 11th, 2023
That would be when I met
incident,
Tammy.
Wednesday,
Yep. When I met Tammy.
where we have a dog bite report from Memorial Emergency Department?
Yeah, that would be me. I only went because I was bit. It was because I work with my hands. And it was only, he's not vicious. It wasn't me, him and Luke were getting into it, so I went to break him up and I slid on my wood floor and I got in between.
That was Nova?
That was Nova. And that's it.
Nova's 6 years old.
Yep,
7.
7
7, yep.
7 years old.
questions?
So I was gonna ask if you had a fenced yard, but I don't think you do based on this.
No,
A
And
partial
the
fence.
photo.
yeah,
So why don't you have a fence?
I'm not wealthy.
yeah.
Okay.
Trust me, I've called, to get a dog kennel put in. They wanted almost $7,000 just for a 20 by 10-foot dog kennel. I tried the shock collar thing there. That was over $6,000. I don't have.
Probably not gonna work for your dogs anyways.
That's kind of.
No.
No, probably not. No, with huskies or shepherds. No.
The fur kinda
As
stops the shock.
As I said, even the 6-foot fence at her mother's house, he's already been out. Like I said, we've secured the kennel. We will continue to secure it and continue to expand it as well, until they have more room to run around in there as well. But
But they do exercise.
they have slowed down a lot on the digging in there anyways.
So I have a question for Tammy, ACO. Have you seen this kennel, the new kennel, I guess is what it is? And is it sufficient? Is it, you know?
I don't know, I was kind of thinking about that, you know, and it's difficult to say, because in terms of the structure, I like the way it looks. I think that it's a nice way of building something on an affordable budget, but, I mean, I think it probably has to get weighed down, because it's probably too light. And then, you know, the other thing is, this is just me, like, brainstorming. Sometimes with chickens, what you can do is you can put fencing underneath so that predators can't go. They could possibly do something like that. Like, I think it could be made stronger, and, you know.
What about staking it down as opposed to making it heavier?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Okay.
there's things that could be done to make it efficient.
So I got a few questions about the structure of this.
One, it is staked down. It is bolted, screwed with 3.5-inch deck techs to my shed, which the shed isn't going anywhere. It's not just, I mean, yes, it was technically a chicken coop when we got it, but we have 1/4-inch wire mesh, 8 feet up on it, all the way around the entire thing. The dogs cannot get through that mesh.
We added that part
So it's
after.
not chicken wire.
No.
No.
I was gonna say, chicken wire is only good to keep chickens
Yeah,
in.
you might
nothing
be able
else.
to keep a wiener dog or something like that
No,
in
I
there, but
didn't
you're not
buy-
keeping a German Shepherd or a Husky behind a chicken.
I didn't buy
No,
a
that's
chicken
not
coop.
it's not what it was. It's literally,
An
they call it,
enclosure.
I forget what they call it, but it's
Cloth.
literally, they call
It's
it
hardware
cloth.
cloth?
Yes. our
Yes,
grandfather.
that's it,
Yeah,
I think,
okay.
yeah. It's 1/4-inch squares.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a steel galvanized mesh is what it
Yeah.
is. That, we have that
And that's why they're not
all the way
getting out
around,
the kennel
6
now.
inches down into the ground, and then we have the, like I said, the concrete, it used to be around my house, which the contractors told me to get rid of in the first place. And they're down in the ground 8-10 inches at
So
least.
if they're digging
I
down.
mean, they have dug
into
underneath
brick.
one of them once, but it was one time.
So
We
they're,
got that.
so
figured
how
out.
are they escaping? Are they digging
Yeah, it's their
under it?
leashes.
That-
It's them getting out, we're putting them out like up front. I use that during the day because I work from home. So if I'm working from home, there's times where I can't get off my butt and go do stuff because I'm literally on the clock for my
There's-
job. So I'll have my sister.
Like
go
I
out.
said, there's a few times where we're going out and they just catch you off guard. They go after a rabbit. We have a ton of rabbits in our yard.
Yeah.
Literally, the rabbits will go out there and tease them if they're out on the chain or in the kennel or something like that. The rabbits will go where they can't see it. But
And
again, that's not neither here nor
So
there.
are they able to dig under?
Not now.
They'd have to dig a long
Yeah.
ways under, and I go through the
Yeah.
kennel every day. If they go down a couple inches, I put bricks in it. Eventually, I'm going to have gravel around the entire outside edge of the thing, so they can't dig.
I was gonna say, you could put those concrete paver stones all around.
Yeah.
Well, we have that
Instead of pouring
on the
concrete, just put
outside.
Yes.
paver stones so they can't dig down.
Yeah, we have that on the outside and
Outside. Yeah.
partially on the inside as well.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions?
No, I was interested about the structure of the enclosure, because we kept on talking chicken coop, and like, well,
Yeah.
chicken wire is not gonna keep them in.
Yes, no, it's not.
They'll
Like I said,
go right
no.
through that, no
Like
problem.
I said, the fencing that goes around, that is screwed with 3.5-inch deck techs through the entire metal enclosure and everything right to the building. It is not moving. The building is grounded, 'cause as you know, it's got power to it. And I have a ground wire directly to the cage as well, so obviously there's nothing problem with that. Not that they're gonna be out there during a storm, but.
So the main reason they're getting off, because one of the things
Now.
we've seen frequently is them dragging leashes
Yes.
behind them.
And it's usually
So it
slipping
looks
from
like you're
us.
coming out with a leash
Yes,
and they're pulling away and going.
yes.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it
they
has
do.
happened,
If
yes.
we're doing something, they'll slip from our hand or something.
Okay.
It's all accidents, never deliberate or whatever, and it's not that we're nonchalant about it.
I know I have very large dogs too. I have Mastiffs and Rottweilers. Okay, so I know how handling them, sometimes when they get their mindset, they can go.
And again, they're all
But
still
I also
puppies.
know,
I have to go pick up my kids, their event is over, I need to go get them. Do you have any more questions for me before I go?
When was the last incident of dogs loose? Does anybody have a,
I sent a video Tuesday morning at 5:15 in the morning when I went to let my dog out. I had to bring her back up the stairs because I had a dog in my back patio and the video was in there.
so this Tuesday?
Yes. And I told
2
them
days ago?
Yeah, Tuesday morning at 5:15, I was heading down my deck stairs, and then I saw, because my cameras went off, so I came to my dog up the
Sorry,
stairs.
one thing, can you state your name and your address for the record?
Sorry, Deanna Valley, 54 Summer Street,
Thank you.
What time was this?
5:15 a.m.
So that was the last time the dogs were out?
I
That's all I
don't
know.
recall my dogs getting out on Tuesday, but
Can you look for that?
It's the second video.
again, like I said, I leave it for work at 5:15, so I'm not home at that time.
let me go back to this one. This one here?
Yep.
So-
Yeah, that one,
How is the dog getting away each time?
right there. My deck is right on the other side.
Can we see that again?
Yeah, I'm not,
Yeah.
I see
Well, I see
it,
it,
but
but I don't know if it's mine.
It's a husky.
that doesn't mean it's
matter.
my dog. My
I'm not arguing.
husky hasn't gone.
Folks,
Yes.
you have to
My-
address the
my
board,
husky
you
hasn't-
can't address anybody else
Yep,
directly. Okay, you
My
have to address us.
husky of that size has not gotten out. He is struggling with his hip right now. He's not going to run around the neighborhood
I can check my.
of that side. I mean, yes, we can check our cameras, but again, I leave for work at 5:15, and they were not outside at that point in time.
Because
Well, it's
we went-
definitely not a coyote.
No.
We're not the only ones with
So-
dogs in there. There's there's a guy that has 2 dogs right behind the 106 chapel. His dogs bark a lot.
That's here nor there. It doesn't
I
matter.
didn't say it, no.
It doesn't,
I didn't say
no,
which one of them.
doesn't matter.
We just
None of
gotta-
that's here nor there. It doesn't matter. Again, I don't,
you-
I
so-
mean,
That guy's dog's
possibly it's
not
my
there.
dog, but I don't believe so.
Folks, 1 second. So everybody's aware, after we hear from these folks, we'll give any of the witnesses an opportunity to rebut or clarify anything further, if you have to. So please, just don't speak out and speak over other people, okay?
Thank you.
Can I?
Yes, yes, go
Thank you,
ahead.
Tammy.
Sorry.
So, follow-up question. The dogs keep on getting away from somebody with a leash. Who's the person that has the leash that they keep on getting away from?
It's actually, it's not her, my sister. It's usually who was. It sucks. It really sucks because I hate having chased after her. And it's all accident. It's never like, oh, just run, just go. And it just happens. I'm tired, I'm old.
Have you thought of putting a run to the enclosure?
Oh, yes. And that's our next thing.
So before the dogs even leave the
Yeah.
house, they're already hooked up,
Yes.
they're going to the
That's our next
enclosure.
step.
And I know it can be a pain in the butt with
Oh, no,
5
they're all,
dogs.
they're all getting very well
Yeah,
at
they're
going
getting
right
better.
directly to the kennel right now. But yes, there is a plan to put a run to it.
Plus, they could leave them out on the run, right? If they need to do
Absolutely.
the business,
Yeah.
maybe one at a
I've seen
time.
dogs break runs
Yeah.
pretty
Yes.
easily.
That's why I
Yes,
keep
it's-
them out front during the day because I have my camera right there with my phone and they're right there. My office is right there in the front. So if anything happens, I'm right there.
It's
While they're
secure
on
in the
there,
front.
I do keep my camera on and I
Right.
watch it on my phone to make sure they're not doing anything inappropriate.
Unless
So
the
what's
leash,
the heaviest dog you have?
Nova?
probably Nova, 120.
100 pounds?
And they're all friendly.
Nova's not going anywhere now, though. Like I said, he's older, his hips are bothering, starting to
Well,
bother
there's a
him.
Siberian Husky.
Yeah,
They have a lot of pull
getting-
force
getting wide.
because they can pull a sled.
Oh, yes.
So they're very powerful dogs at that size, even 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anybody of the witnesses or neighbors want to speak from what they hear? Go ahead.
So I live at 54 Summer Street, D'Anville Valley. What happens if I'm outside with my dog? These dogs are loose. My dog is very protective of her yard and goes after one of these dogs. What do I do then?
The dog's in your yard?
Right. But I don't want to become somebody coming after me because my dog bit their dog because their dog's in my yard.
Well, what's typically going to happen is the ACO will be notified. Your dog will be quarantined for a period of time to make sure that there was no rabies. You would have to show proof of vaccination, proof of registration of the animal. And after the quarantine period, if everything's all set, you'd be all set. But if the dog came into your yard, it's your property.
What I understand, I just want to make sure that, because I did look in to try to fence in my whole yard. I do have the biggest yard on the street. It's going to cost me over $30,000 to fence in my yard.
Fencing's not cheap.
No.
So you're aware? I don't know if any of you explored it, but electric fencing, farm fencing, is fairly cheap. And it will stop a cow, a bear, and it's pretty good deterrent to keep things out of your yard. And it is fairly cheap. It's not like getting the big fencing. So.
I just want to remind the board, so on one of those videos, there was 4 dogs loose at one point and a brand new neighbor on the street trying to get them home. So I don't know where the owners were at that point, but it was long enough for him to find the dogs, try to get them to get back home, and there was nobody out looking for them. So it's not just one dog every once in a while. It's usually multiple dogs. And it's just, you shouldn't have to look around every time you go outside to see if there's a dog that you might hit or come into your yard. So in one of those videos, it does show there was 4 dogs loose at one point. So I'm just,
I have a question. Who lives on 61? Who lives on 71? It was her?
that was Larissa.
I think I've heard enough.
I heard enough too. So, do we want to discuss, close for comments?
I would ask if there's anything else anybody else wants to add before we move on.
You gotta close the hearing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for speak for the last time. After this, we're gonna close the hearing and discuss it within ourselves. And,
The time she's speaking about the 4 dogs, they were out for less than 5 minutes.
over here. 'Cause
Just so everybody's aware, once we close the hearing, there's no more input from the public.
As she was saying about the dogs, the 4 dogs being out at that time they were out, they were gone for less than 5 minutes. They ran right back into the house, right back into the door. The new neighbor, I do believe, is actually one of my foreman's sons, Kevin Ferguson from Northern Tree. But aside from that, again, I want to apologize to everybody. I never meant for my family to bother anybody in any way, shape, or form. And I will do better. The dogs will be better. Apologize. Thank you. We're here now.
Anybody else? Nobody on Zoom?
No, they can't comment anyway, really.
Okay. Then can we make a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
David Dufresne, aye?
Derek Bailey's aye.
So we got 3.
Okay,
So the hearing is closed.
yes, it is closed. Nobody else can input anything or send us more videos or any comments.
So after hearing everybody, okay, there's overwhelming evidence to show that the dogs are getting loose. They are roaming the yard. I don't think the owners are being intentional on that or negligent on that. but it is their responsibility to maintain the dogs in their yard. Especially having a kennel license, there's an added responsibility of doing that and ensuring that the dogs are on your property stay on your property and also being safe. We've had a couple of the witnesses identify that they were in fear of the animals. We do have a bite report from one of the animals. And that was as recently as October 11, 2023. It did bite the owner, but there was an incident of a bite, okay? Huskies are a pack animal, and when you get out in a group, they act like a pack. And I would be very wary of approaching a pack of any dogs because they get that pack mentality. And you can get yourself in a bad situation, even if one goes after you, the others are going to follow suit just because they see the one going. And that can be very dangerous or deadly. I don't see the dogs ever doing that to anybody, but there's also a property with young children on it. And I would never want a young child or anybody to get hurt by a dog. One of the dogs is 100 pounds. I'm sure the 10-year-old is probably at about that weight himself. So that's not much of a fair fight for a child. And that could be life-altering. I think there should be some considerations for what the owners have done. They are trying, but we still have the facts that the animals are still getting out. And that can't be allowed. The residents are in fear. Nobody should ever step out their door and have somebody else's dog on their front porch or in their yard, or open up their garage, or even approach you inside your garage, which could be a bad situation because you might not have a way of getting away from that dog. So there's definitely a situation here where it needs to be addressed, and I think conditions definitely should apply on this. I would say that it warrants a nuisance dog, and since there's currently 5 dogs on the property, the nuisance dog, and we can't identify exactly which one, just all of them have made appearances on cameras and in and out. So I would say the nuisance dog would be all 5 dogs on the property. Because again, each one of them has made appearances. Again, I think the residents, the witnesses, have overwhelmingly presented evidence stating their case. And it's not up to me to say, well, I wouldn't be afraid of that dog versus somebody else, because it's all about the perspective of that person. Just because we might not be afraid doesn't mean somebody else might not be, because of their individual experiences. And they are large breed dogs, and they're very powerful dogs. You know, Huskies, they use them as sled dogs. You know, they run through snow, they have a massive amount of energy and a massive amount of strength. And I would be very cautious getting into anything with a group of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Rich?
Yeah, I mean, the owners seem to be trying some things, which is good, but yeah, I think the evidence is kind of overwhelming that there's a problem. So, I mean, this is probably the next step.
Yeah,
Putting them on notice that, you know.
I think the problem here is containing on your property. And a dog is a big responsibility, and as much as I love dogs, I will be afraid of any dog that comes out on the street that I don't know. Even as a Chihuahua. You know, it's just like having a car. When you buy a car, you just don't buy the car. You have to buy gas, you have to buy insurance, you have to buy, you know, get the exercise tax. So there's a lot of responsibilities that go beyond owning a dog. And one of them is taking care of them. And containing is part of it. So I think this is not happening here. And we can't let this keep going on for more. It's been a year now. And, you know, and the owner, like you said, he is willing to, you know, make it work, but we have to make sure that, you know, it doesn't happen again.
So, Rich, do you have the fines? What were the fines for nuisance dogs getting off the property?
Yeah.
For complaints?
Let me just read this. Okay. This is, so it's dog control law, chapter, section G, page 36. Dog considered to be a nuisance. Any dog found to be consistently barking or otherwise disturbing the peace for a continuous period of at least 10 minutes shall be considered a nuisance, and the owner of such dog or the persons keeping such dog shall be subject to a fine of $25 after the third violation. Violations of this section may be enforced as provided by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 21D, by any police or animal control officer.
I think the fines were more than that.
That's what I have.
Probably the old one.
And there is, we had added at one point a law that the ACO can enforce these bylaws.
Okay.
And there is a section on dog waste. Your dogs can't, not in anywhere public. You gotta pick it up.
So I would recommend conditions. We'd have to declare it the nuisance dog first, the dogs. And then if we do that, then the conditions put on it. And being that said, I would recommend keeping the dogs contained to the property. It's their responsibility to do that, so.
Yeah.
It seems like they're doing as much as they can right now with what they can, but the Huskies are smart. They figure things out, and you just gotta outsmart them and build something better. Paver stones on the bottom of the enclosure could keep them from digging underneath. You know, maybe running a run, an enclosed run to that area, or having the dogs on a wire run and bringing them over there. So even if they do pull away from you, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You just bring them back over and bring them in, because you could actually run a wire from your back door, you know, all the way to the enclosure.
Yeah, right to the
And then
cow.
have them on runs, and then bring them right in, boom, boom, boom. Take them out of there, hook them up, and then bring them back in the house.
Yeah.
So there's no way they can get off. And slipping collars, I wouldn't recommend collars anymore, because Huskies have big necks, little heads. and lots of fur, and they'll slip those collars. So, you know,
Like
at
the
that
thing
point,
that
I
goes,
would,
like under their arms, right?
yeah, what's that thing called again? Harness. Each dog be not a collar, but a harness.
That will be one of the conditions.
All dogs to be harnessed and
Yeah.
on a run.
All the time.
Yeah. Because they're not gonna pull a harness off. So, they may chew through a harness.
Well, not if it's on,
Oh, yeah.
right? I mean, if
I've
it's
had
on-
dogs
Oh, really?
chew the harness right off.
Oh, God.
So, but it's up to the owner. Can't take any more. So, you know, but it's up to the owners to make sure they maintain that, and I wouldn't recommend keeping the harness on them while they're in the house.
But
You know,
yeah,
because they're just gonna lie there and chew on it.
Yeah,
But if they're gonna run them out and run them out there, you know, put the harness on them.
so what about even adding on that kennel, like a second doorway, like a, almost like a vestibule that's smaller, that only like one human and one dog can be in at a time, so they can't push their way out? Because right now you could open the door and they, 2 or 3 could come out.
You could
But
do
if there
that.
was a sort of intermediate area maybe, where you could get the dog on the run, then let it go, then close the inner door, then leave and close the outer door, I don't know, just a thought.
Good idea. It's capable of doing, you know, it wouldn't cost a lot of money to do
Yeah,
something
just
like
a little
that.
bit more wood and the hardware cloth, maybe.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest problem is containing. The second problem is the responsibility. I mean, if I can handle one dog, why am I gonna bring another one? And another one, and another one? You know, I heard the owner said that he can't afford a fence. I mean, these dogs must eat a lot. And that's expensive.
Well, that's where we could potentially look at the actual permit for the kennels, the kennel license.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe we have the ability to revoke a kennel license.
I would save that,
We could put that in a condition saying if further action, your
yeah,
kennel license could potentially be revoked.
yeah, some of the ramifications.
And by having his positive attitude, I think if we declare nuisance dogs, I will rather see waive the fees, so he can put that money into doing something to stop the dogs to going out. For now, but,
What do you mean waive the fee?
well, we just read that there's a fee,
A violation.
a violation.
But it's
Some
after
fines.
3, it's after 3, or it's
Okay,
on the
so right
third
now,
incident.
we're not gonna,
They can't be fined right now because they're not nuisance dogs, as of
Okay.
right now.
as of right now, so
But once-
everybody knows after this, if we announce them as nuisance dogs, if there's another incident, there's gonna be fees involved, and
After, on the 3rd,
on the third, well, that's not much, but
$25 on the 3rd.
probably they eat that in a day.
Yeah. I don't know that I would waive that.
I
mean,
don't
it's-
think I would waive
No, no, no,
that either.
my thought was that, you know, once we declare them, we were gonna charge a fee for that.
No.
So we-
No, no,
okay.
It's a bylaw, you can't waive the fee.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but
that's the
before-
other problem, I guess. But he was thinking something different.
Yeah, it was something different.
So I
Okay.
think we need to take a vote on whether we declare the dogs a nuisance dog. And I can do a motion for that, if you guys are ready.
I'm
And then we can
ready.
Talk
Yeah,
about
that's fine.
Yeah.
conditions.
We should do that first, or?
Well, no, we can declare them a nuisance dog and
Yeah,
then apply the
and based on
conditions.
that, we do the,
Okay, I'll make a motion to declare the following dogs a nuisance dog on the property of 65 Summer Street belonging to Sarah and Randy Smith. Bella, Nova, Iris, Panda, and Amori.
do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
Okay, and for the conditions, I would identify that the dogs must be contained on the property at all times. The dogs must be harnessed whenever they're going outside.
When you say outside, it's to their,
To
within their property.
Within their property, to their enclosure. And when they're not in the house, the dogs must be maintained in an enclosure.
Oh, so they can't fly out the door. Yeah,
But
somehow
that,
yeah.
but you want to maintain them in the enclosure, not just on the property, but maintain them in the enclosure. And to set up a run where the dogs can be brought from the back, from the door, the house, to the enclosure. And then you wanted to add a two-door system?
I don't know, that, it's an idea, I don't know that we need.
Like
to
a suggestion, maybe?
Suggestion, yeah, let's put it.
Yeah, like I was gonna suggest if this keeps happening, the owner is gonna have to have a fence to contain their dogs.
Yeah, I mean, we could, yeah, I would start reasonable and.
Yeah,
see
let's
where
go
this
little
goes.
by little.
They're trying to fix the problem, so let's give them, you know,
And all
some
those are,
space.
I think the ones that I talked about are fair.
Yeah.
They're inexpensive to do, doesn't
Yeah.
cost a lot of money to do that. And then I would also put that, if the animals continue, the dogs continue to get off the property and become a nuisance, that the kennel license could be revoked.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so tell me again what a kennel license allows.
It allows you to have a number of dogs, up to a specific,
3 maybe?
they're allowed 8 dogs on their kennel license. They only had 7 at one point, but now they're down to 5, but they're allowed up to 8 based on what they have. That allows the ACO to go in and inspect the property for food, shelter, there's a few things on here. Make sure that veterinary requirements are being taken care of, that they're licensed. They're kept in an environment that's not like extremely hot,
Yeah.
where it's gonna put them in distress, or extremely cold, where it could harm the dogs. So there's conditions you gotta meet for that kennel license.
And what, there's a threshold, like after your 3rd dog or something, right? Then
Yeah.
you have to get one.
You have to have one after 3 dogs.
So if we took the kennel license away, then they would be.
They would have to get rid of some of the dogs.
Permitted for only 3, okay.
And if the problem consists, we can cancel that license.
Well, then
'Cause
you
he's-
could just order them not to have dogs. Based on the, continuing experience, then you could sit there and say, you know something? You're not a responsible owner, and we're gonna, identify this, and you're not gonna be able to have have dogs on the property anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So contained on property, harnessed, dog run, and then the kennel license is in jeopardy, as well as the ability to own dogs or have dogs licensed, right?
And before canceling the kennel license,
We'd have to have another hearing.
Yeah, we'd be back here again.
We'd be back here again, but you're putting them on notice that the kennel license is subject to,
But I was thinking before that happens, we recommend putting a fence so they can contain their dogs inside.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they can, yeah, sure, yeah,
So like little steps
Yeah,
as a
that's-
recommendation,
yeah.
even if they have a fence and they keep going out, then we have to go.
Okay, so recommended. So you want to recommend like a double door?
Recommend the double door,
We're
recommend
not
the,
going to require it, but.
yeah. Recommend the fence. I mean, if I was me, I would put a fence. I don't want my dog get run over or,
Yeah, but it
so you're
sounds,
aware, shepherds can jump like 7, 8 feet in this air.
that's what I was gonna say, for them to spend thousands and thousands of dollars
They
on
could
the
easily clear a
usual
fence.
chain link fence, and they just get over it.
Yeah.
But
I was
something
think-
must happen because if, you can't, you have to be responsible.
You do, yeah.
You know,
Um,
if I have an elephant at home, I have to make sure it doesn't go in town.
I was thinking a stockade fence, but that's even more expensive, right? Maybe a stockade fence from the kennel to the house, as opposed to the entire yard.
See, the main problem is containing the dogs on the property.
Yeah, yeah,
How it happens, it's up to the owner, but it has to happen. Otherwise, he will be declared not capable of having the
Maybe
dogs.
that electric fence thing, the
So-
cattle fence.
The electric fence works. It keeps my dogs in. Having the invisible fence works on some of my dogs. I've had a dog, a Rottweiler, that would run right into the invisible fence and get shocked, and just stand there and spin in circles and get shocked, and then run right through it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I know.
it just, strangest thing, it didn't stop the dog. And I had it turned up to the highest voltage, and it just wouldn't work for certain dogs. But having a farm fence,
Yeah,
it's designed to keep cattle in. It's 7,000 volts.
yeah.
And if anybody's getting hit by 7,000 volts, it's a pretty good charge hitting you, and it stops you.
Yeah.
It stops horses, cows. I've touched it, and it made me think twice about touching it again. But it works.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what we're asking is under the normal things, you know, just, if you go to a zoo, they have bigger animals there and they can contain them. We don't hear on the zoo that the animals are escaping, so the owner has to make it happen. He has to be able to contain the dogs inside his property.
Well, that's why you say contained in the yard. It's up to the owner to do it, what they decide is
Yes.
best gonna work for their animals. All we care is the dogs don't leave the property.
Correct.
Yeah.
They
Sounds
wanna
good.
put up a 15-foot stockade fence, so be it, just get a building permit for it.
Yeah, you need a permit for
But,
that size.
But again, if they want to do that and spend that money, that's fine,
Yeah,
or whatever else, as long as it works.
yeah.
'Cause the residents in the area don't deserve that anymore.
And, or the dogs.
Right, and it's also safety of dogs. I'd be worried more about my dog too, because you don't know who's flying down the road. If a car flies down the road and your dog runs out in the road and it hits your dog,
Well, if my dog goes out and your Rottweiler comes at it, I have no chance. So it's all about responsibility. Let's get this done.
Okay. All right, I think we're good.
do a motion to approve the conditions. Do you want to read the conditions?
I kind of did, right?
Motion.
We're contained on the property, harnessed when outside, install a dog run. We said the kennel license would be in jeopardy, as well as other, just licensing the dogs in general. And then we're gonna recommend a double door, or a fence, and/or an electric fence. One of those, or multiple of those options. We're not requiring them, but that'll be in the letter.
Okay. Said moved.
Do you have a sec?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Motion approved. Thank you very much.
We need to close the hearing?
It's already closed, you closed
Yeah.
it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then we'll give a written copy of the conditions and the findings to the owners.
Yeah.
Okay, go back to.
Number two?
the
Item
assessors.
number 2.
Oh, number,
Go
Number
do the
5, which
appointments,
was
number 5.
so discussion with the Board of Assessors with a possible vote to appoint Mr.
No,
No,
you're
not
you're
right
all
now.
set.
You're all good.
Yeah,
You're
you
good to
can
go.
leave.
Go take care of your dogs.
Harness, we've gone through 3 or 5 now. Choke collars. Now,
Well, I wouldn't use a choke collar.
well, the humane ones,
Yeah, there's no such thing as humane.
it's just a leash and then there's only this much
It's
of a
like
choke
half
part,
cloth.
so it can't slip, but
Okay.
I have to use the restroom, I apologize.
Whatever you do, you have to take care of your animals.
Absolutely.
I gotta use the restroom too, so let's go through this and then
Okay,
do a bio break.
okay. Discussion with the Board of Assessors with a possible vote to appoint Mr. Jack Finney to serve on the Board of Assessors until the next municipal election, anticipated vote.
So do they have to open up their,
Yes.
did the assessors open up their meeting?
Oh. I make a motion to open up the public meeting for
The assessor's office
for the town of Warren at 7:35 PM. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Motion has been made in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
So they're open.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as I indicated, I had received an email correspondence from Mr. Jack Feeney, Warren resident, with his interest in serving on the Board of Assessors. We currently have a vacancy on the board, and he's willing to invest the time. We had a discussion about, the requirements, statutory requirements for the position, about passing the 101 course, as well as taking the modulars in the 200 series. He's willing to invest the time into that, and to take that and to serve. I explained that the board typically meets a couple times a month, and do have some busier parts of the year. They may meet more than a couple times. But Mr. Feeney is with us this evening to answer any questions or to talk about his candidacy.
Thank you. Sir, señor, bienvenido.
Gracias, gracias. Híjole, ¿qué voy a esto?
Muy bien.
My name's Jack Feeney, I live at 1509 Southbridge Road, and I've been there for 12 years, been a part of 12 years. I've got kids in school with yours, and so here I am. I'm a full-time electrical engineer, working at a company in Agawam, and I travel for a living, 40%. So I'm hoping I can contribute and be a part of whatever I can do to help support this town and to
I'm
give
sure
back.
you will do a very good job.
Okay, thank you.
I know you for many years.
Yeah.
We speak in Spanish all the time, and
Yep.
and I think it's a very good. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
You got any questions?
No. Thank you very much.
I'm an electrical engineer too, so.
Okay.
And you got a good haircut anyway.
Oh,
so-
handsome guy.
There
yeah.
you go.
Cut
If
myself shaving
I
here.
cut my hair like that, could I be an electrical engineer too?
Possibly.
Is that a requirement of the profession?
I think so, yeah.
It's once you start holding the wires together.
Too many shocks.
Bienvenido. Thank you very
Amable,
much.
gracias.
Yeah, thank you.
Un placer.
We'll sign it and everything. So you want to make a motion?
Now,
I'm not sure if you may want to hear what the assessors would like to say.
Board of Assessors, you may want to add something to it. You have something to say, or?
Deborah Hardy on the Board of Assessors, and we're very happy to have John join us and work with us, and we're going to look forward to working with him.
That's awesome. Thank you.
all right.
Yes.
And do they have to take a vote
So
with
they'll
us,
vote,
too?
they'll vote with you guys,
Okay,
yeah.
yep. So I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Jack Feeney to serve on the Board of Assessors until the next municipal election.
Do you have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
Deborah Hardy, aye.
Tom McCoskey, aye.
Motion passes.
All right,
Bienvenido.
you're on board. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome to
Feeney.
the family.
So, Mr. Feeney, you will need to get sworn in by the town clerk in order to officially participate. On Monday, you can come in, we'll have the appointment slip ready, and anytime you want, you can meet.
This coming Monday?
Yep, yep,
Postponed till Tuesday?
sure,
Yeah, okay.
yep,
Yeah, no
no
problem.
problem. Yep,
Very good.
thank you.
All right,
You're all
congratulations.
set.
All right, Jim, thank you. Thank you very much.
You'll see her.
Bio break, go ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead, and I'll be back in
Okay.
2 minutes. Don't stop.
Don't worry.
Close meeting.
Yep.
I'm going to make a motion to close the Board of Assessors meeting on October 3rd, 2024 at 7:40 PM. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you very much, Board of Health.
Thank you.
Board of the Assessors.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we do have another item with the Board of Assessors. I don't know if you want to take that one next. or-
Which one is it?
Item number 4.
Well, I think we have to wait for Rich to get back.
Okay.
Because He has to be able to hear the whole thing to vote on it.
Okay.
There's nothing else we can do without him.
We can do the minutes.
Why are you looking at me like that?
There's no minutes today.
No. You do the bills. Yeah. Be nice. It's a beautiful day out.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
It's taking an awful long time.
I hope he's okay.
Falling.
Slip.
Send a lifeguard with him next time.
Yeah, I should have gone too.
Let's see. No, Tammy left her cup here.
Did she? That pink one?
Yeah, that pink one's hers. I'll have to make sure to grab
You're
it.
here.
We were lost without you.
Yeah?
We did the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got it that far?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
No, we
Next
only
time
did the
I'm gonna leave
minutes.
again.
We only did the minutes.
Oh, you only did the minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like,
So doing item
I thought
4
you were
now?
like town administrator.
Or do you want to
report.
do item 2 or item 4?
Item 2, right?
Item 2's quick.
Acceptance of fiscal year 25 reimbursable state grant in the amount of $140,000 from the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration, DER, for the purpose of conducting field data collection and design engineering services for 2 culvert replacement projects over Tough Brook on New Reed Street, with a possible vote to authorize the highway surveyor Jeremy Olson as the contract manager and signing authority for this grant. Anticipated vote.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the town was a recipient of this grant through the hard work of our highway surveyor and CMRPC, which I believe they're on Zoom. Jeremy is
Yep.
joining us via Zoom, as well as a representative from
Yep.
CMRPC.
Yes, I'm here.
New Reed Street.
Yes, it was great to work with Jeremy and the town of Warren. And it's great to be here tonight. Hello, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just give a couple seconds for Rich.
That sound right in Broomfield? Okay.
That's where the turtles cross the road, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's Tufts Brook. I don't know, could Jeremy tell us a little bit about the project, right?
Sure.
Jeremy, you
there?
Is he muted?
Do you want to bring him up so we can see?
I'm here.
Nope.
You guys hear me?
Can hear you loud and
All
clear.
right. Yeah. Hey. So, a while back, nice guy here, Zach Blaze from CMRPC, reached out to me and asked me, about possible projects that we could pursue grants with. And he brought the DER grant, which helps with culverts and streams that are either undersized, have cascading effect on the discharge, where wildlife or fish, whatnot, can't move upstream. And so basically, we we decided that this was a really high priority culvert here, and we met with some nice gentlemen from engineering firm to kind of go over it and discuss the possibilities of using this culvert as the focus to this grant, and they thought it was a great one, and we really worked hard, did our research, filled out all the paperwork, did everything we needed to do, and were able to be very successful with getting this grant.
Thank you. Jeremy Olson. Identify yourself as the highway surveyor.
Yes, Jeremy Olson, Warren Highway Surveyor.
Thank you.
Jeremy, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
So can you just tell us where there's culverts, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so there was, the application was, there was two different culverts on the same stream, and both culverts have similar issues. One is more extreme than the other. So we applied for the both of them, and they agree that this is a legit project that they want to invest in and want to see these culverts replaced, and so that the fishery that Tufts Brook is could have more success, let's say, with upstream movement. So with not only fish, but other wildlife that utilize the stream to move up and down. So between the bodies of water on this river, on the brook, should I say.
Thank you. That's really great. This, I think this is very good for the town.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the.
So, Mr. Chairman, this grant is only for design and engineering services. So, once we get rolling and get our design and engineering services completed, it is our hope and our goal that, working with CMRPC and possibly, MVP, action grant, we may be able to get funding for the actual replacement of the culverts.
Cross your fingers. Yeah.
But this is the first step in that phase.
Of course, we have to know what we need to build.
So is this grant, is this an action grant from our, it isn't from the MVP process?
Well, no, once this is, no.
This is something
This
else.
could lead into an action grant.
Oh, okay.
Once the design and engineering services are done.
Okay.
This grant will
Jeremy,
pay for the
can you
design and
mute your
engineering
mic?
services.
We're hearing you.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, so DER, it does offer in the next phase an action grant to help with the construction of this project. But if for some reason they don't think that what we present to them is something that they could help us accomplish, let it be the project's too big, too expensive, these culverts were already listed as issues presented during the evaluation to approve us as an MVP community. Municipal vulnerabilities preparedness. Well, we had massive flooding from this stream back a few years ago, and it washed out the road. And it was clearly marked as these are culverts that definitely need to be upgraded. And for the fact that because of the cascading effect, it really scores it very high on changing these two. So the goal here is to make the stream natural going under the road, so that anything that passes underneath the road isn't going to know that it's in a culvert. So they generally use box culverts, which are quite large, or possibly go to the next level, which is a small bridge. Now this stream has 3 small bridges just upstream from here. So it goes through 3 bridges, 2 massive culverts, and then dumps into these small culverts, which causes these problems with flooding. So again, if the DER can't fund the next level because their funding is limited, MVP is
Definitely an option.
Yeah.
We lost
you.
Yeah, it's all right.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, so I said MVP is something that the town has to provide a match for to a certain extent. It's usually a smaller percentage, somewhere between 10 and 20% at the most. Well, this DER grant will actually give us the percentage we need complete for MVP to cover the rest of this grant. But again, we're going to go through this process. We're going to do all the surveying that needs to be done, the field studies. We're going to have an engineering firm choose the best design, create the design so that the project will essentially be shovel ready for the next level of grants. And again, we're going to be high on the list for DER in their next level. And then, like I said, if we don't get that money, we're really primed for MVP for this project.
Sounds good.
So this is a reimbursable grant, which means we have to front the money?
So no, what will happen is that the money will get spent, and Jeremy, as a contract manager, will put in for reimbursement. So it just gets spent down, and then he'll submit for reimbursement.
So that, it comes out of highway budget?
No.
Whose budget?
It comes out of a grant. So once this is approved, the grant account will be created as the money is spent down. So the first bill, then Jeremy would submit for reimbursement, and then the town would get reimbursed for that expense, and it would eventually wash out to equal to zero.
Okay.
So what is before
the grant goes out until June, the end of June, June 30th. And then it will be after we send in the invoice, it'll be reimbursed. They have 30 days to reimburse the grant. So it would be at the end of 45. It'd be at the end of July. They have to reimburse the grant 30 days after.
Thank you. And so,
Zach, could you identify yourself?
Yeah, I think I was muted when I was talking at first, but yeah, Zach Blaze with CMRPC, a transportation planner, principal planner. But yeah, I run the culvert assessment program with CMRPC, and I'll just throw in, I'm very excited for this grant. I've applied for it a few times with other towns, and this is the first town that I've been successful with. So, I'm very excited for the town of Warren. And as Jeremy said, these are two high level culverts. They're a big nuisance. They've caused a lot of issues. So, while this grant isn't construction grant, it's gonna, lay the groundwork for, a future grant. Either we apply for the next year's DER grant. If that doesn't work, we go for MVP, but it still lays the groundwork. So the next grant will be for construction. So.
well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is very nice. We appreciate all your efforts, and I'm sure this is going to be a lot of benefit for Warren.
Yeah, no. Thank you.
And saying that, can we have a motion? Oh, yes, sir.
Ray Capaco, representing Finance Committee. Thank you for the question, Rich, to explain a reimbursable grant. I believe it is accurate to say that the town puts the money up front and then gets reimbursed through the grant. My question is, if the expenditures for this project either come under budget or over budget, how does the financing work for that?
So, Mr. Chairman, the budget is going to be set and capped at $140,000. That's what the grant is. So it is the contract manager's responsibility to make sure that it stays within that budget, and it's also the contract manager's responsibility to make sure that reimbursements are submitted to the state in a timely manner, and that the town receives those reimbursements.
Does that, is that good? Thank you.
You can check with Jeremy and make sure he understands that. I'm sure he does.
I'm sure Jeremy knows about that. He's okay with that, right, Jeremy?
Oh, absolutely. It's very similar setup to like Chapter 90 in the sense that we put the money out, the state holds a fund for us that is reimbursed as we spend. And it's not always reimbursed right at the end. You can reimburse either by quarters or by big phases of the project. And then when it comes to engineering, it's like, so we have firms that are going to basically give, and their cap, they know the cap on the spending. So if they're going to propose to us this project and do what is required by the DER, then obviously they know they have to stay within this budget. So it's not only us holding them to that, but they understand that there is a hard cap. So if they don't complete what they're supposed to with us, then obviously they're hung out to dry. The DER will make sure this goes through. So the engineering firm, whoever we decide to go with, they know their responsibility going in, which is why it's very important for me or for us to contacts with proposals on it and go forward from there. But first, I have to sign the contract and send it back to DER so they can sign it, and then we can have a mutual agreement to continue forward.
Well, Jeremy, driving through town.
I'm actually on 495.
We keep on losing your signal.
Cell phones.
He's on site. He's in the culvert. He's in the culvert.
Okay, so I think it's a go.
Yeah.
Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the FY 2025 reimbursed state grant in the amount of $140,000 from the Mass Division of Ecological Restoration, and authorize the highway surveyor Jeremy Olson to contract as a contract manager and to sign as signing authority. Sorry.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
All right.
You're good to go.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, Jeremy. I think I need a nap.
We all need one.
These chairs are very comfortable.
I know, but past few days I have not been able to catch up on sleep.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Next
It's
Monday.
my life.
We'll have next Monday off.
No, I have to work it.
You do on Columbus Day?
Yes.
Well,
I have to work too, so don't worry.
I'm taking it. I'll get enough sleep for both of you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, that's very
Even
good.
when I do have days off, I don't get sleep, so.
Discussion with, that one we did.
4?
No, the
Item number
policies.
4.
Discussion with the Board of Assessors on the adoption of policies and procedures for the handling of conversions or sale of property that is in Chapter 61, 61A, or 61B. Anticipated vote.
Hello.
Hello again.
Deborah Hardy, Assessor, Warren.
Don McCoskey, Assessors, Warner.
Yeah. So what we put in front of you is a possible adoption for you for the rights of refusal. A lot of other towns have it, and it's mostly to have fairness for when a person in chapter land wants to convert it, and to have some policies and procedures around how it should happen. Right now, it's happening a lot of different ways before it comes to you. And we're trying to hopefully put some policies and procedures that are in here so it can happen all the time the same way. We can look at it and change it. A lot of it, responsibility falls on, we have the town administrator might have to do something to make sure everything is happening the same way all the time. Since we've been in the office in May, it's happened a lot of different ways. Some people just scribble a note, some people do this, some people do that. So we're trying to hopefully establish some policy and procedure around it so it happens the same way consistently for everybody.
Very good. And you said this is, happens in other towns too?
Yes, actually, this is from Douglas. They have a lot of chapter land. We have a lot of chapter land. At this time, we have I think 238 properties in chapter land as well. It also would require us as assessors to provide you with a list of the properties that are in chapter land. So as you evaluate the properties, you know how much chapter we still have. Obviously, we want to keep chapter land to keep the town, to keep that a rural feeling of the town, and people to be aware of if we're losing chapter land and to be looking at it that way.
There are also conditions of the chapter land that should be evaluated every year. And it's very possible that those evaluations aren't being completed at this point in time.
That's not done here, right?
No,
That's
it's not
every
done
year.
here. That's not part of it, no. It's just your part and your piece for the chapter, yeah. So we're just hoping that you consider it, or we can all sit down together and think about something that might work better for our town.
This is what you recommend?
This is what we recommend, because right now, there just isn't a policy or procedure, and we're hoping to put together some manuals around that,
Oh, this is
around
great.
chapter land, so that everyone's doing it the same way, and the people in chapter land will know that requirement and what we would like them to do if this is their intention to sell their property.
Yeah.
And we're trying to put together some manuals.
Nothing better than clear information, right?
Right, and to make sure everyone's doing it in the same way, because there's a little bit of unfairness of how, one person can do it this way, another person does it that
Yeah.
way. But if we don't have any policy and procedures, there's nothing,
There's nothing out there.
right.
The board has any questions?
I do. So the way this is set up on page 2, it seems that it's the intent of the owner to let you know and then provide 1 through 6.
Yes.
So what I would like to see in here is more of in addition to this, is a sort of a trigger. So if there's a special permit taken out that involves that land that changes the use, I would like this to trigger. And here's the example. Solar company comes in, talks to the landowner. They come in, they pull a special permit for a solar site, still in chapter. They go through 2 years, maybe longer of review, still in chapter. Then maybe they get their final certificate of occupancy, and that's when it gets pulled out. So I think the planning board's understanding, I'll speak as a planning board person now, that at the time the intent of the use changes is when it should be taken out. So when the solar company comes and says, we're taking out a special permit to do this project, that would be the time that the uses change, because now
Right.
now they're intending to do something different with it. And that hasn't been the policy of the town.
Oh,
or the assessor boards in
absolutely.
the
I
past.
think we are aware of that. There are,
Okay.
and that is something that we would like to look at.
So maybe a trigger in here that if you learn of, or maybe taking out a special permit goes to your office as well as other offices. I don't know how many.
Probably phrase it like upon application of a special permit,
Yeah.
the intent clause will be triggered, and you must take it out of chapter.
Right, I think that's law too. So if they're
Yeah, but that's
intending
not
for
what
another.
they've been doing. They've been playing the game.
So
Keep it in there so they can get the reduced
Cost.
rate.
Right.
Keep it in chapter as long as they can until they get the final product. Even though they've gone through all the meetings and everything to convert the property
And all the
to something
construction
else.
and all.
All that, yeah. And then they take it out last minute.
yeah, yeah. So
After they are plugged into the network.
And after they
Right.
game the town
To
for
the
all that
grid.
money.
yeah. So it's really, it also makes that kind of project more serious. Are
Right.
you really going to do this? Then you take it out of chapter and go ahead and proceed with your project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very important.
And then the planning board can ask, have you gone through this yet?
Yeah,
Right.
that's something and we'll have you guys backing us up, you know?
Okay. So what I'm hearing, you'd like us to take action and write something in there that will say when.
Change of use.
Change of use, and maybe put something in there, what will be examples of change of use.
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as they have the intent of a special permit, it triggers.
Or maybe a regular building permit
Yeah.
might trigger it too, I don't know.
Because if they build something else.
If you're gonna put a business, can you put a business on chapter land? Could I put like a, I don't know, a.
Walmart?
Well, or.
Excuse me, a lot of
That
the,
would be a special permit. though.
some of the chapters have multiple use, so you'll have a chapter that might have a 017 code. So a house is there, but then they're also using it for agricultural, horticultural. So, and some people, a lot of people take out chapters in pieces, like kind of take out sections or acreage, or that piece may come out of it, but then they might have 20 acres that are still in chapter.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say special permit or building permit would be a trigger, automatic trigger.
A permit in general, once we've come through the office.
Right.
Yeah.
And, boom, red flag.
Yeah, yes.
So usually they go to planning board and they have to go to you to have their parcels split for that use.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's usually a trigger.
Okay.
What we are finding that there are people who are in chapter and they're not going to the planning board to split parcels. So parcels are.
Really? They
Yeah.
need an A&R to do that though.
I know. So we have people
Oh.
possibly coming back, going to the planning board, and having those parcels or acreage
Yeah.
taken out of chapter.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
because
shouldn't
there's,
be anybody dividing up property unless they go through the planning board first.
right, but I think the
Yeah.
people really don't understand how to do that. And they need to know, I don't know how to make it clear that if they're going to split property, they have to go
Yeah.
to the planning
Well,
board.
that's where the building inspector should be catching that, because if you're gonna build another house on your property,
Yeah,
and you're identifying a different owner, why isn't that getting brought up and saying, well, you never did an A&R, you never split this property
Right
to
there.
sell it?
That AR seems to be far and few in between, believe it or not.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to work, I mean, obviously, having chapter is great. People do split their parcels. We try to direct them back to the planning board and let them know that we cannot give them house numbers. We cannot do those things. We just can't follow through without making sure. And we make sure anytime we look for the registered plans. And a lot of times, they're not
Yeah,
registered.
because the planning board's main point is the use of land.
Right,
So as soon as it's changing use, it's planning board.
right, I agree. So again, we're just hoping we'll come back with that action. Do you want us to come back and have that written in before you will agree to that, or?
yeah, send like another draft or something.
Okay. Now,
That would be
because
great.
there is a lot on the town administrator to do in here, is there any questions you have, Mr. Ferrera,
No,
or concerns?
I don't have a problem. I think it's great that we're looking at trying to, notify departments of what's going on, notifying multiple departments of what's potentially going on with the land. No, I don't have any issues with that. I will recommend that once we do get the final version, we just have council look it over and make sure everything's okay with it, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
that's-
definitely.
we do that for everything. so.
No, I think this is great.
Yeah. See all
Definitely.
boards working together?
I
Yeah.
love that.
Good
Yeah.
initiative.
The whole
Yeah.
team.
What is the procedure for an AR? Did you
A&R?
Yes, do you automatically give it to the assessors board?
Yeah, you would get a copy.
You get a copy.
We get a copy of it?
You should be getting copies.
I-
We get
we-
like 3 copies usually, planning board, assessor, and clerk.
Not that we've seen.
We just did one the other day.
Okay. 'Cause
That would be interesting, a list of those whenever, somehow, some way, to be generated so that we're
Yeah.
aware of it, that it is coming, it's in transit or something like that.
so we can just let Laura know that, making sure that one of those copies gets to the assessors.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we could even sign off on it so that you guys would know where it originated from, says, hey, they did receive a copy of it, here's the signature, would be great.
Yeah, they would come from Laura, though.
Now, may I ask a question? You're not planning board right now, but would you need to know who possibly has split properties and hasn't registered with you, or is that something?
I'm just amazed they could actually take that to the registry of deeds and get that, because they need the, like, the book and, or do you do the book and page number
We do
thing?
the book and page.
I don't know what, I mean, they're in jeopardy of not having a legal piece of land, right?
We've
They
shared
are.
that, we've
They are.
shared that with them.
Property hasn't been approved to be split,
Yeah, I know, that, like,
I know.
so
that
it
We've had a
wouldn't be
couple-
legal.
lawsuits and unhappy people and.
Yeah, but I think there is a real confusion about going to the planning board, at least what I have heard. I've only been there 4 months, but people seem to not realize that that's an important part of splitting their parcel.
And I think it's really up, like, you guys have an important job too, where you sit there and you see it and you say, hey, there hasn't been an approved A and R on this. We can't,
Right, we
like you
can't-
said, we can't give you a house number, we can't,
Yeah.
this is not approved, you can't do this. Because they might not have frontage requirements.
That's the big
and-
thing, is the
And that's the
frontage.
big thing for us to look at, is to make sure that they have enough frontage. And that's bylaws.
Right.
Yeah, that's setting the bylaws to make sure that happens, and there might be other requirements, because you might actually, by doing an A&R, you might actually be shutting off somebody else's property
I
and
know.
landlocking them. So, there's a lot of issues that we gotta look at that, before it even goes in front of anybody.
I know, I know.
Another
So-
interesting point that happens is for a perk test. So you have a lot and you do a perk test on it. But now that perk test, if you split the lot, where does that perk test pertain to? The very first lot, but now you split it.
Yeah,
So do you have to get another perk test? You should,
maybe for both,
for both.
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you get into to the Board of Health, and we're going to submit for a perk test, someone comes in today, I want a permit, what's the lot? And there's already a permit that was done on that, and they're good until any kind of major earth moving has been done. What do you do?
Well, that's where you gotta kinda question it, like, what are you doing it for? Well, I have plans on creating, splitting the property. Well, you need to do that before we grant the perk test and go down that route, because right now, it's only one property. And if you already have a perk test on there, you're good for that property, but if you're gonna subdivide it and you need an A&R, that needs to go through first, and then you would have a second property.
Or a third?
Or third, depending on how many they wanna do, yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe
But an
somehow.
A&R has to be granted before anything should be
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah. So I was.
And don't hesitate to communicate with the boards.
No, I was saying maybe we could put together a little worksheet or a little pamphlet for people to understand that process better for them.
Yeah, I
because there seems
actually,
to be
in my mind, I
confusing.
set up on the old business, go back to the website thing, because we want to have all that information there too.
Right,
Not only a pamphlet, because it's easy to say, hey, did you look at the website?
Yeah.
It's there. So
Yeah.
if you come up with something, we work together, we put it on the website.
yeah, I think we should come
Yeah.
up with that. I'm thinking that we should have like maybe the senior center, just a little workshop for people, because there is, I think they truly don't understand that process.
Yeah.
It's very possible we could be missing something, because if that lot gets split, now we have 3 individual tax incomes
Right.
for real estate, as opposed to just one.
So, seeing, or knowing that somebody's doing it and claiming ignorance or I didn't know, they probably did know, and they're probably doing it because they have non-conforming property, or they're about to make it non-conforming, because you can't have a property that's approved and then split it and make it non-conforming to divide up your property. You have to have conforming parcels, as far as frontage. And some people, I'm not saying that all the case, but it puts in question, why are they trying to circumvent the system if that's happening?
I don't know.
So-
I know they try.
We'll keep trying.
Just gotta shoot him down, make him
Okay.
do it the right way.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
you
you,
very
we
much.
appreciate it. Bye-bye.
So where are we? 6?
6.
Continued discussion regarding the town acquiring a server, redundant domain controller license, and possible vote. Now we learn what that was. It's
Thank
not
you.
a server.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So before you this evening is some additional information that I was able to get from our IT provider explaining the importance and the definition of a domain controller. There's an email here. The domain controller is the authenticator source for all local requests. If a user on a primary controller 1 would be logged in, the domain controller validates the credentials and allows or denies the request. If there's only one single domain controller and the domain controller is unavailable, the user is denied access. Having a redundant domain controller means that while the primary domain controller is offline for required maintenance, the redundant domain controller can service the requests. This will allow for no downtime and users to be able to log in at all times. So this was identified through our resiliency review of our cybersecurity initiatives, and has been recommended by a third party that the town get a domain controller license and have it installed. So if our primary server goes down, this will have a redundant backup for that.
Yeah, the way I see it is we all have a contacts on our phones, right? So if I drop my phone on the water and it goes bad, then I get a new phone, right? But I lost all my contacts. You know, on the new phones you can download from the cloud your contacts and get them back. But what they are saying with this controller is if something happens to our server and we have to recreate it with this backup, it just is very fast to recreate our contact list or
Correct.
network than trying to rebuild it again and make it, you know, put in every contact back in manually. So I think it's completely a good thing. I mean, I don't know how many times a server could go wrong, but if it goes wrong, that's a lot of work.
Our server's fairly old too, right?
It's
5
over,
years.
Yeah.
And how much is it? $1,500?
$6,669.
Yeah, it's about $1,600, $1,700.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Just having somebody come and recreate that is going to be a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably gonna cost us a lot more money if we lost it and we didn't have a backup.
And not only the cost to repair it, to get it back, all the people that can't work during that time.
So that's gonna cost you money.
Yes. So I guess we just vote for this. I'm in favor, and you guys?
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
So let's make a motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion to acquire a server redundant domain controller license.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Review and discuss the upcoming senior center kitchen improvement project with a review of a scope of service and price quotes. Anticipated vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you this evening is a letter from our senior center director, Sharon Milley. She had indicated she's very excited for our new dishwasher and range to be purchased and installed. Council on Aging Board and myself are in agreement that we would like to use 360 Building and Remodeling for our kitchen renovation and upgrade. Victor has done work here in the past, and we are exceptionally pleased with him and his work. We would also like to use Beck Plumbing and Paul Shepherdson for plumbing and electrical. We have very good results from both companies. We intend to use 20,000 that was awarded from us from ARPA funds, 11,000 from our expense line. Our current balance is $26,019.92, with the hope that the town will vote at a special town meeting this fall to reallocate the funds that were appropriated for the bulkhead and side door replacement. The remainder will come out of our formula grant. We would also like to extend thanks to Jim. This particular project is ready to go now. We have identified funding sources. We've gotten quotes from electrical, plumbing, general contractor, as well as the dishwasher, range, and the dish tables, and soiled dish tables, the 2 side counters that will be installed as well. So this project is ready to go. We do have that 20,000 reserved from ARPA funds that has been reserved for some time. With some maneuvering of the senior center's budget, we will be able to take care of the range, as well as the cost of all of the installation and everything. There will be a reprogramming of that money for the bulkhead and the side door. There's our hope that CDBG funds will be used to take care of that initiative. So that was reserved at our town meeting in June as a portion of free cash money. So if we can use that to repurpose it to put the money back into the senior center account at the special, if we have the votes to do that at the special, then she could repurpose that money and not have to use it for the bulkhead, because the bulkhead will be paid for through CDBG funds.
Okay.
Very good.
I think we gotta get this done. This project, it's been taking a long time.
Yeah, let's make a motion.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the senior center's kitchen improvement project with the prices quoted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. Go
Thank you.
for that.
Let's go.
Let's get it done. Warrants and bills?
Warrants and bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the following warrants. PR 13, the amount of $52,983.50. AP 13, in the amount of $388,144.92.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
I'll make a motion to pay the following bills. WB Mason, in the total amount of $345.78. KP Law, for a total amount of $1,650.74. Modern Pest, for $108. Warren Electrical, for $516.46. Amazon, for a total amount of $152.35. And Hamden Communication, for a vote of for $1,500.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
So,
What is this vote to
Vote to
resend?
with that,
What does that mean?
actually, I think there was some confusion. There was a generator that had some work done on it at the senior center. And the last time we voted, the Board of Selectmen took upon all responsibility for all generators utilized for town buildings. I think this was confusing because this is something we have an account for.
So we have an
Okay.
account for maintenance, for annual maintenance, but the actual expense and repair is typically and historically have come out of the department's expense account. Sharon had paid that bill recently through her expense account.
Yeah, but We pay all that. We're responsible for all the generators,
For the maintenance,
for everything.
okay.
That's what we did. We voted because we were gonna maintain them, take care of them. If they needed to be repaired, we fixed them. That's what that account is for, to do that. Because again, we had multiple people doing repairs and inspections, and it was costing the town more money to do it that way, instead of just having one set contract and one set account that we do this stuff on.
So I guess the problem is then, has that been properly budgeted? Because maybe some of the
Correct.
money that should be in our account is now in the senior center or the highway or whatever, right?
So I believe there's about $7,000 in for the maintenance aspect of the generators.
Okay.
And, typically, the bill is about $3,500 for one service of the maintenance. And, sometimes it can be serviced twice, during that year. So, that's what we have budgeted for. Now, if the actual repairs to the generator, want to come out of the Selectmen's, generator expense account, then we would have to budget for that, moving forward.
Well, that's what I thought we were doing.
I thought it was just out of the maintenance account, because that's what it's always been. That's what I was told by the accountant, that it, they handle the maintenance aspect of it.
We took over all of it because some of this stuff wasn't getting done. And it was, again, we had multiple contracts for the generators, and they were all different and all over the place.
No,
so we standardize it for every single generator, just like the boilers.
Mhm.
We took over all the boilers, and we handle all the maintenance and everything for the boilers in the town, for our buildings.
So the same contractor is doing all of the work for all of the generators, this Power Products, they're doing all of the, the maintenance for all of the generators, it's the same contractor. Alls I'm saying is that alls that's budgeted for is the maintenance, because there's another expense for this generator. There's probably another $3,000 of repairs that it needs to do beyond this, that is not even done yet. So we're not gonna have enough money in the expense
Right,
account to
that was
cover
my
it.
point, I guess. So we would need a transfer from like the senior center generator account into our generator account to pay for this.
It would come out of just their regular expense account.
Okay.
Which makes no sense, because that's why we created this account and it created one expense line under the Board of Selectmen to handle all this and take care of this. So if we need to allocate more money for maintenance or repairs, that's what we need to do.
Well, we'd subtract it from everybody else who has one and just make our account bigger then. So the sewer department has.
They don't account for it because they don't even consider it. They shouldn't be accounting for it in their budgets.
Yeah, but they may have if there was confusion. So, Sharon may have set aside in her own private ledger or whatever, right? Maybe it's not a budget line item, but maybe in her calculation, she's got like generator, $3,500, right? But we need that money because she's not gonna pay for it anymore. If that's what we're doing.
Right, and that's what we
She
did a
should
while
pull-
ago when we took over all of them.
Right, so she should pull that $3,500 out.
So,
and give it to our
and the same thing would go for, like, for example, the sewer department. I
Yep.
mean, the sewer
Yeah.
department is an enterprise fund, so everything gets paid out of, the expenses for them out of the sewer department. So I don't know how you would, take out something from there, because you can't do that.
And next year, they don't budget for that, and we budget for it, right?
Right. So next year, we could
So
definitely do that.
maybe we should just leave it the way it is right now and let the senior center pay for it, but next year, when we do
But we already
budgeting.
voted to approve it, to pay for it. That's the point.
Well,
Last time, we voted to approve to pay for this, but then Sharon paid for it. So,
we just have-
essentially, we both approved to pay for it, but technically, it's supposed to be coming from us.
well, we could make a motion, I guess, just to have it paid for out of her budget then, right?
No, you just rescind your vote.
Okay.
Just let the departments understand that we're handling this. And my other concern is, if we're spending $2,300 to have it fixed now, and you're talking about another $3,000, why are we doing that with this generator if the generator total is probably a $5,000 generator? Why don't we just replace the whole generator and have a whole new warranty on it and have it good? Because if it's old and it's having that much maintenance, there's probably a problem.
So I called Power Products, and Power Products, when I spoke to the representative who handles our account, says, a replacement of this particular generator is anywhere between $11,000 to $13,000. Right now, the generator has an issue, and I tried to get it taken care of through our insurance. Mice have gotten into the side of the generator, started nesting into the generator and eating the wires. So all of the wiring of the generator needs to be rewired, and that's the $3,000 bill. This particular repair was for some of the mechanical things that needed to be repaired when it was serviced by at our annual maintenance back in June. This was noticed as mechanical repairs that needed to be done, and then when those mechanical repairs were done, it was also noticed that mice have nested in there and they have eaten all of the wiring. So I had applied to our insurance company, Maya, to see if they would cover it as a claim. We have a $1,000 deductible. They denied the claim.
Yeah, I don't think they would pay for that.
Well, insurance companies have paid for cars, that have gotten chewed up and eat up with their electrical wiring for nesting. They have a nesting clause in their liability insurance that doesn't cover it.
So my other concern now is, what's gonna prevent them from going there again and eating it?
So, that's another issue. So, we can try to see if we could secure the generator a little bit more thoroughly around there. We do have pest control there. I've asked Sharon to notify Modern Pest to let them know that this has been going on, but we do have Modern Pest down there.
Cover everything with hot sauce. They won't touch it.
I don't know, we're almost spending $6,000 for an old generator. Oh, no,
Well, but I mean,
the unit model is a 2004, 2024?
No, that's incorrect. I
I was gonna say, if it's a 2024, how old is this generator?
The generator is about 7 years old.
But the mouse thing it would never be covered under warranty, and it's not an age issue, it's just mice got in there, right?
No, but it may be because it's just not secured properly, and there's gaps in it. Some of the newer generators might have a tighter tolerance where mice can't get in. They're made out of metal. Some of these generators are sealed, so they really can't get in them.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I don't know what type of generator they have there.
It's a Generac, I believe.
Yeah, it's a Generac, so, if it's a plastic box that it's sitting in, you could eat the plastic. I hate to dump $6,000 to fix a generator where the mice are gonna go in there and eat the wiring again. And it's an older generator. I don't know if we want to do a little more research on that. Maybe have the pest guy go over there and look at it and see how they're getting into this generator. And if he just says, well, there's large gaps all around the fixtures and just how it's designed, we might want to look at something different because they're just going to keep on getting in there and eating the wires. and then we're gonna have to spend $3,000 again, and another year, spend $3,000 again.
Or can the gaps be sealed somehow, you know?
Yeah.
Who's in charge of the generator? Kind of like check it out once a month or something?
Well, they are Power Products, but they check it out annually. They do an annual inspection of the generators. They do all the town and make sure they're all function correct. They change oil, whatever they need to do. They do all the
Filters.
maintenance of them, filters. So that's why we have them, because when we first were doing this, you know, senior center had their own, the police department had their own, fire department had their own, and we were getting all these bills, and they were all over the place with different companies, and the maintenance wasn't getting done, you know?
Do we have a specific line item in our budget for this?
Yes, it's
Yeah, okay.
generator expense, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's, again, what we designed it for is maintenance, repairs, or anything like that, so we can handle.
Can we create something like when they change the batteries of the fire alarms, check out the generator? I don't know, some things to prevent, you know, oh, there are mice in here.
I mean, you know, typically, you know, these are things that, you know, obviously when Power Products comes out, you know, they have to talk to the department head and let them know of, you know, what's going on at, you know.
If you look at it this way, it's for their convenience to let the mice through the wires, because
Well,
then they charge a lot.
My understanding is they discovered it when they were doing an inspection and doing repairs,
Yeah.
and then they found that the mice were getting in there. So they were actually doing what they were supposed to do, and they inspected the generator and found mice were actually getting in there and eating.
Yeah,
So, I think the system's set up right.
just the mice are
It's
too
just
fast.
the mice, and again, we can keep on throwing money into it, and then the mice is still gonna just keep on going in there and eating because it's warm. They're looking for a place to go, to get out of the weather, you know?
Well, let's have pest control, and, you know, if it, have them on them.
Yeah, I
Mice
have
keep
them look,
chewing there, it's gonna be on you.
they'll tell us exactly what, you know, if they're looking around it and saying, oh, well, the mice channeled through,
Mhm.
you know, this side. You know, they might have some foam that's approved to be able to spray in there a little bit to keep them from going in and out of there. Or if there's just large gaps between the doors and the fixtures that are just part of the product, we might wanna look at getting something that's a little better product so we don't have this each time.
I'll call it a homework.
Or at least before we spend $3,000 more.
So I guess
to
the
do
best
it.
thing we could do is move on with this, and then just try to look into it, if we can improve for the future.
Yeah, so I mean, next year's budget, when we do next year's budget, if you want us to include, for repairs,
Yeah.
above and beyond maintenance, then we can, you know, then we can do that as well. This year, we just don't have, the money's not there to pay all of these bills
Yeah, well, then-
for repairs.
Right, we'll end up.
We'll have enough for maintenance, but not repairs.
Yeah.
Remember, we got a special coming up too. So if we identify, well, probably the best thing for fixing this problem and getting a product that has a warranty on it for a while would be to get a new generator. Or if it's best to just pay to repair it and have the pest control try to seal whatever it is or do some more aggressive movements there. At least we know, and if we have to get a new generator, we can put it on the special.
Have you seen the damage or anything, or how they got in?
I've not seen it, no. It just, you know, the service tech said that they were just nesting in there and eating away at all of the wiring. Which there's quite a few cars that are out there that recently, that I know of, that people have had, you know, nests of mice that burrow in there and eat all of the electrical wiring. And some, you know, and most of the times, that is covered by your auto insurance carrier, and And unfortunately, our insurance carrier, which I did check into, I did get a denial of a claim.
Okay. Seems like there's a lot of,
So what would,
rat and mice problems in the town now.
so what do we do with C then? Vote to rescind it?
Yeah, so, you know, that bill's already been paid by the senior center.
Okay. Wanna make a motion?
No, but we're gonna keep it that, because, yeah, right.
She already paid it,
Yep.
so.
And
So I'll
it's-
make a motion to rescind the bill from Power Products for the amount of $2,309.80.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Rescind and not resend.
I corrected it.
Second,
All in favor?
David Dufresne, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. No minutes tonight. Town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you this evening is my monthly report for the month of September, going over several highlights of what had transpired. This particular week, we had a bid opening, actually today, and we received 4 competitive bids for FY25 highway materials and road equipment. And we are currently reviewing them. We opened them this afternoon, and we're hoping that an award can be made early next week, and contracts can be before the board soon. With regards to financial departments, everybody has been working very steady to prepare for upcoming special town meeting. I have already received 1 request from a department for a couple articles. I'm anticipating a few more article requests to be coming. Departments have until October the 11th by noon to submit them to me. We have our monthly tax collections for the month of September, as reported by our tax collector. The total for the month of September was $87,355.99. Of that comprises real estate at $45,312.86. Nothing in personal property. Motor vehicle excise tax was $33,812.29. Interest and fees is $6,679.59. Sewer liens was $431.25, and registry clears was $1,120, totaling $87,355.99 for total tax collections for the month of September. Also this week, we are preparing for a department head meeting next week. On Tuesday, the 8th at 9, we will have our risk management team from Maya on site, working with departments on offering best practices and handling and controlling risk. Collins Center, we are moving forward with our questionnaires. Questionnaires are due back to Karen by Monday. And we had a great ceremony on Sunday, this past Sunday, for the Honor and Remember flag. I really like to give a salute to our veterans agent, who's done an outstanding job putting that together and putting that ceremony together. And for everybody who took place in that ceremony, and our Gold Star families in town. It was a great event.
Joe Condrat for bringing it to our attention.
Joe Condrat for bringing it to our attention. Thank you, Joe.
Good job, Joe.
And he was participating there as well. And also, I do want to thank James Feminari family for the recent restoration efforts in the plantings for the exterior of our Veterans Honor Roll sign in town. I know that they just completed that, the restoration this past weekend. They volunteered their time, they volunteered the materials. Gentleman's a union carpenter, been in town for many, many years. I met Pam, his wife, at the honor roll 3 days ago, and we talked, and I thanked her on behalf of the board for the work that her and her family did to volunteer to get that done. We already had one gentleman in here looking to, number one, say thank you to getting it done, and looking to make a contribution to the efforts that were done. So people are talking about it. People are thankful that that has been done. There's some additional restoration work that needs to get done in terms of the interior. James is a union carpenter, very experienced on the exterior, and did a fantastic job on it. The interior, he was very leery to take that responsibility because of the age of the sign and the liability of, there's not easy access to getting inside of that sign. You have to take some of the screws and some of the nails out. It's not just a locking sign or a rolling sign. You have to actually take it, pry it out. He was afraid that it may damage the wood even further because of the age of it. So he recommended that we, retain some type of specialist to do something like that because it could potentially disintegrate, some of that. But it is done, and hopefully the exterior of it will get us a few more useful life years out of it. And they planted some beautiful flowers and put some flags up. So thank you. I had invited them to the meeting tonight. They didn't want to be thanked, but I thought it was important that we do thank them for their efforts.
Absolutely. Outstanding job. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Good.
Question.
Yes, sir.
When did this Comcast speed increase go into effect?
The beginning of September.
Really? I see 60 download, 18 and a half upload. Another test, 30 download, 1.2 upload. That's all megabits per second. We're not getting anywhere near 1.25 gigabits per second on download and 200 megabits per second.
Wouldn't that be because of our, because we have the speed, we just don't have the capability over our Wi-Fi.
I don't know, Wi-Fi should be able to handle that.
There we go.
I had some answers to that.
Yeah?
So if you're on the Wi-Fi, one, that's always going to be slower.
But that much slower?
I'd have to look at
It's a lot
our
slower.
Wi-Fi routers. They only have so much speed. If the Wi-Fi router is built for 50 megs down and 10 upload, that's the max you're going to get no matter what.
We should probably replace those then.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I think they're fairly new, but we'd have to look into like what model they are and what the max is.
Yeah.
The other, I know upstairs I'm getting 600-700.
Are you wired?
I'm wired, yeah.
Okay.
All of our stuff is wired in. Our newest server, which is only about a year old, that's getting 800-900, or 700-800.
Okay.
One of our computers that's going on 4 years old now is getting 3 to 5. Older computer, it's going to get slower speeds. I believe the firewall we have, the max is 750 on it no matter what.
Okay, so the other thing is, the one speed test I ran, I believe, measures it from the router, not from my phone. So it should be measuring it from the edge.
It's going to measure it from whatever you're connected to. So if you're connected on the Wi-Fi, that's the speed, that Wi-Fi.
I'm not sure that's true. I thought it measured from the edge of the connection, which would be the router, out to Comcast.
You'd have to be connected directly to the modem to run that. You lose a little bit of speed because it's flowing through the network, because you figure it goes from the router,
Yeah.
from the modem to the firewall to the network switch down to everything. So you lose a little bit here and there as it processes that. I know the Wi-Fi's been hovering around 25, 30, but I've checked multiple computers and they're all getting hundreds.
Okay.
You got older computers, they're not even gonna be able to process that no matter what. They're just not built for it. As we start replacing computers, you'll see, a 5-year-old computer might only do 100 to 300, brand new ones doing 600, 700. I believe with the current firewall we have, the max it'd be able to do is 750 either way.
I thought we got clarification on that it shouldn't be affected.
It doesn't affect it,
Yeah.
That's what
they-
Comcast said.
Comcast said that.
So your
firewall,
the firewall's built to only process so much. I know last year, the year before, when we had to have Northeast change some settings for us, and I had talked to them about the internet speed. They had told me the max on our particular firewall was 750, which even with that being the max, that's still plenty of bandwidth. But again, the Wi-Fi could be either the router only can do a max, or they might even have it programmed to only get so much bandwidth to prioritize everything else, because that's actually what I do at home. I have my kids on one router and all my stuff's on another, so when they're on Netflix and playing the Xbox and all that, it's not going to cause problems for me.
Yeah.
They get the lower end of the bandwidth.
I'm very happy with the results I just got. I do it
83 and
almost
117.
So, on DC, I get 83 and 117. And on that door, I get 187 and 191. Just because I move closer, I guess.
It's also depending on where you are. I think the router down here is out in the hall, so
So it
in
almost
relation to
doubles
where.
going to that door.
What's up?
For me, it almost doubled just.
Yeah,
moving to
it
the
all depends on where you are in relation to the signal. You're behind a wall, signal can only go through so much wall, so,
Remember, these walls are cinder block too.
It's
So there's a
probably
lot of concrete that's coming through, so.
Well, anything above 50 is good.
yeah, anything above 50, I mean, even
Even 30 is
to 25 megs download, you can stream off of multiple devices.
How much did you get
I got what, like 60?
over here?
60 down, yep.
Just about.
30 down, 1.2 up. And the other one was, I erased it. Oh, reset, whatever. It was like 60 and 18?
Maybe we can have Entree look at it.
Sure, yeah, I mean, we may
Maybe
have
they might
to
need to replace.
update our routers, our wireless routers. We may have to-
It could be,
How much do you have in your
updated
computer?
switch. I
Do
know,
Do a test on.
when Northeast was up
Share the
here,
screen
they were
and do a
looking
test.
at our network switching for the
Okay.
towns, and they're like, "Oh, you
Just
guys,
open a browser and
ours
write
was brand new
speed test.
compared to,
Yep.
I don't know how old the
Yeah,
town
no,
one is."
I did talk to Comcast, and Comcast, their firewall that they offer with our package, is of the appropriate speed. It will,
Yeah,
be
so
compatible.
Comcast provides a firewall built in, but we have the one that,
And then we have our firewall, which
Yeah.
I did also ask Entree about, and Entree said that it would be sufficient.
right, yeah, so I know when I talked to Northeast, they said the limit was on 750, which is a little less than the 1.2, but
It's not bad.
Well, I mean, it's not bad, but if you're
I mean, for being
paying
on
for
Wi-Fi,
1.25 gig.
Up
Well, that's
to.
next to the, what?
It's an up to.
Up to.
Yeah, oh, yeah, but still. But this is a far
I know.
cry from 1.25, so.
So what did you get?
Well, I'm getting 40 right now.
For
And I got
download?
66 for an
40 over
upload.
66.
40 over 66. That's
I
lopsided.
have 32, and at one point, for the uploads, I had 380.
Yeah.
That's bizarre, that you get 42 down and 380 up?
Now it's saying 32 and 37.
Okay.
But
I
at
got-
one point, it was showing
I got-
380.
It'll vary by me. So far, the first couple days I actually ran a 24-hour test, and it ran a speed test every 15 minutes. And that was getting fairly steady results in the hundreds. But like I said, when you're on Wi-Fi and wired is a very, very
Oh,
big
yeah.
difference.
Well, okay, so, yeah, just have Entree, like, take a look. and
The
make-
routers,
Just
Yeah,
ask them
yeah, let's-
if everything looks okay.
the wireless routers.
Yeah. I mean, that's what most people coming in the building are gonna be using.
It might
Public,
be.
I mean, that's what we use for Zoom, so.
You know, it might be a pretty inexpensive upgrade for us too.
Yeah, they're not expensive, wireless.
Sure.
We
Ah.
need to replace a couple of them, and it's
Yeah,
a couple $100.
yeah.
Right,
We
just
have
remind
the-
me I
we
didn't
have the
identify
budget.
myself, so Travis Baker, I run cable access.
Thank you, sir. We good?
Yeah. I will check in with them when they come for their monthly visit.
Okay.
So I get a question. You touched upon the taxes.
Yep.
And we recently got a tax report, and on one of them, we have the taxes for the tax title for this year. And how do we possibly have a property of 39 acres in tax title since 1949?
Say it again?
It's tax title since 1949.
Wow. More than 100
Rear
years.
Crotch Road, and it's 39.6 acres.
Huh.
And it's been in tax title since 1949.
How much money?
Didn't say. It just,
Just put
How is-
$100 a year. It's like
There
it's
you
39
go.
acres.
What's the address?
It just says Rear Crotch Road. It's on Assessor's
Crouch.
Map 6-0-49.
there must be an explanation for that.
Can I do that? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you go to the Assessor's website, and you can pull it up.
Yeah.
Are you sharing the screen?
No, not yet. Is it a border? I hate the way this is arranged.
It's right there.
Yep. It is maps. Last time I used this, I had trouble with it.
I would say it's safe to say they're not probably gonna pay that.
Do you have any other property meanwhile?
What's the book and page and stuff?
It's 6-0-49.
Let me see.
So that's a property that they haven't been paying taxes?
That's not
since?
even on the list.
It says tax title.
What does that mean?
Rear Crotch Road.
You sure it's 6? That's not even
I'm
on this
looking right at
list.
it, 6.
Well, it's a type of it, that's why.
You know, it could be, land that's, either landlocked or not developable, or land that, has no value. And it could be just on the books and nobody has ever, wanted to take it, to be foreclosed upon, because there's a cost for foreclosing upon it.
Oh, where's Crouch? Oh, Crouch is over by the dump, right?
With those long lots.
Yeah. Reed Crouch. Yeah, no, I got it. Oh, there's 6048 is this one.
Go next to that one.
Oh, maybe this.
49 is right next to it, I'm sure.
Nope, 650. What about Marks Mountain? Oh, there it is.
It's Marks Mountain?
It's Marks Mountain.
Interesting.
So why is Marks Mountain in tax title?
I don't know.
It's care of J.F. Egan. Who owns Marks Mountain right now? Does it say?
Mark?
There it is, Rear Crouch Road. Washburn.
Yep. Albert Washburn.
Albert Lincoln Washburn, I think is what it would be. In
Yep.
Springfield.
Since 1949.
Wow.
So, safe to say that Marks Mountain hasn't been paid for since then?
So can we make it a national monument?
I think we should.
It's 39 acres.
How much tax?
Almost 40 acres? It didn't say.
Gotta be fun to own a mountain.
We could
huh?
find out.
I'm gonna rename
It's landlocked.
I'm gonna buy it and name it Rich Mountain.
Rich Mountain?
My guess is it's landlocked, it has no value, can't be developed.
Yeah, let's make
Just
it,
sat there for all those
make a
years.
beautiful
Yeah, but we could-
trails.
if-
The odds are these people probably don't even know it was left, or if it's been transferred in the family, or if they even know who owns it now.
But could we acquire this land and turn it over to parks?
Yeah.
Right?
That
Yeah.
would be nice.
I mean, it's a great place for people to go hiking and stuff.
Absolutely.
What about this parcel? Is 60050 on there? Or 6050, sorry?
It doesn't go by that. It just goes by
Oh, those might be
the name in alphabetical order.
Brookfield Road.
I'm not sure if you'd be able to get to it. I don't know how you would get to it.
There has to be an easement.
Oh, there's another Marks Mountain.
Little Mark?
Oh, this like whole thing is Marks Mountain, I guess, right? Oh, somebody potentially in town. I don't know.
I don't know. Any chance you could check into that?
Sure, I'll put it on the list.
It's kind of a long period of time, you know.
I will check with the tax collector and the treasurer. They're in charge of tax title properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them that are pretty old. 2010, 2006, 1987, 1992,
It's more than 20 years ago.
84.
More than 100 years.
So we have a lot of properties that it could be somebody passed away and didn't have somebody to leave it to, and it's just been sitting there forever.
Okay, let's look into it. Okay. Any more questions?
I will also say, Mr. Chairman, that the final report for the public safety complex has been released this week. It was released on October 1st. It's on the town's website. We're encouraging all the residents of the town to look at it, formulate some questions that you may have, and we're going to have a couple public hearings in the future, and those dates will be made available well in advance.
So speaking of that, I did make a recommendation earlier today with Mr. Farrar that at each of these properties, we should have a little sign, like a little board put up with the picture of what the public safety complex would look like on that property and potential site. So people, when they walk by the properties, they can look at it and say, oh, this is what it looked like here. Because you know people aren't gonna go on our website and download the, how many pages?
270.
270 pages and go through that to look at it. They're most likely gonna be walking by these areas and see it, and then ask questions. So, be another thing to just kind of show people what we have.
But private land over on the one site, can we put a sign up? We'd have to get permission.
Maybe I can get permission from 2 of the sites.
Well, one of the sites we own. And
One-
then the other
one we
site,
own.
we already got permission to access the property.
Right.
I don't see why they would say no to us putting up a
Yes,
potential sign of. Yeah. So at least 2 properties we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And the understanding is the 3rd property, they haven't returned your calls or anything yet?
Right, right. I mean, we
Which
could,
is the
we
one
could,
here?
yeah, I mean, we could theoretically put a sign on this end.
Yeah, in the grass here.
In the grass here,
Yeah.
but I don't know how many people would drive,
No.
No, if they wanted to and they were curious, they
Yeah,
could
they
walk over there and
walk
look at
over
the
there,
sign.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it'd still be nice to just put the sign there,
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of on our property too. It's
Oh, yeah.
using our property,
Yep.
so it's a combination. So if we put the 3 signs out.
Mhm.
inform
I don't
the
think
public
that
of
the
all.
sign on 67 would be a problem. I don't think that woman who owns the property has been very responsive, and I don't think that would be an issue. I will check with her.
Okay.
You guys good with that?
I just downloaded it. I closed it. Everything that we have is 8.5 by 11?
What's that?
Everything that we have, this report, it's
Yes.
8.5 by 11.
Yes.
So can we ask them for full-size sheets so we can do those posters?
Sure. Yeah, I got, actually, they gave, for the renderings,
Yes.
they gave me a JPEG file, a blown-up one,
Okay.
that I can.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Well, they would put the signs out for us, won't they?
They
Because
may.
he did
they-
say that.
They may give us like the actual photos. They'll
Yeah.
give us the photos, but, in terms of mounting it on wood and stuff, that'd probably be our responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
The outdoor weather banner will be like $200 plus the structure that we need to install it. Because I did some recently and they're like 3 by 6, so almost a sheet of 4 by 8. Okay.
All right, should move on, we're like in the weeds.
I know. You said these chairs are very comfy.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping now. New business. Any new business? Nope. Nope. Old business.
One question, we have our items to follow up on list. One thing that's missing is what's going on with remember we did a dog hearing on it was East Road, right? Like a while ago, a letter never got sent out. That's Karen's department, so I don't know where that's at, so. But that
I
letter-
think we only did recommendations,
No, we did conditions. 'Cause
but
it
the
was
conditions
just
never
dog.
went out.
Nope,
Okay, so that's where we are.
yeah, so we need to know where that is. So,
Yeah,
just,
if we could just follow up with that.
yeah. That's all I got.
Any correspondence?
Oh, with that, sorry. I'd still like to follow up with the designs for the Welcome to Warren signs.
I own that one.
Okay.
Just give me a break until the homecoming thing goes away.
Okay. Yeah, because that'd be really good to see, because nice
Yeah, well,
signs
maybe
that
we'll go
up
next
there.
to the, side to side with the side project posters. We get them all for a good price.
Okay.
They should be double-sided.
And the raising of fines, You guys were supposed to do a review of the fines.
Parking fines and speed.
You know, there were, like the parking ban during winter, isn't it like just $5 or something like that?
No, the parking ban's on the parking tickets.
There was some, there was a fine that was only like $5.
Was I there or was this when I was out?
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
Well, if you don't license your dog, it's a $5 fine, which, like, okay, I won't license my
Yeah.
dog. Here's your
It's
$5.
it's cheaper than paying for the license.
It is.
$11.
The licenses, yeah.
I think probably this thing needs to be
Beefed
reviewed.
up.
So,
Well, we have a study coming out for that, right? No? I thought we're paying for something to go over our.
For policies,
Personnel policies.
policies and procedure manual for employees, yeah.
And what's going on with the credit cards for all the departments?
We don't have anything as of yet.
Yeah, because wasn't Don looking into that?
Right.
Because right now, none of the they pay out of petty cash or through other areas. And it would just be a lot easier if they had like an impact card and it comes out of their budget. So. Then this way, Don could look at it and see how much departments are actually spending, and invoices could get submitted through that way too. So,
We can have Dawn look into that. She would issue credit cards or stuff to that nature, credit.
Yeah, could you please? See what she says this time. I remember we asked her once and she wasn't too up to that.
and then what's up with the businesses opening in town that need licenses?
That's my idea.
Oh, why are you all the way over there?
Yeah, that was my idea, because we have several businesses that are coming into town and opening up businesses for resale and stuff like that. But they don't have to have a license from the town.
they don't have to, or they're not getting
They're
one?
supposed to get a business license from the town clerk's office.
Well, as long as it's a DBA.
Any business.
If it, well, I know that they haven't been doing that, but I guess my question is, and the reason I put it on there is to have the discussion. The question is do we want to be able to know, first of all, that a business is coming into town? And second of all, what are they doing in that business? And should we say, okay, look, it's gonna cost you $50 to have a business in town?
Only 50.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah, yes to all.
So, but we don't have anything that says that. And when
So we
you're
gotta do a
talk-
bylaw.
Right, and when you were talking about fines, all the department heads were supposed to look at their particular part of the bylaws and decide if their fines were good enough.
Right, fair.
So, that's why I came down.
What about the dogs on East Road thing?
Because we didn't declare them a nuisance dog or anything at the thing, and we just gave them recommendations to do it, and told them that if they had another issue, that we would declare it as a nuisance dog or a dangerous dog, and then they would have to follow through.
But did they get the letter? They didn't get the letter, that was the
No,
problem.
they did not get a letter
Okay.
saying that. But
Can
I
we
can
send the letter out? I thought we were
I
gonna do-
typed it up, and you said, I sent it to you to review, and you said, well, maybe we need to do something different, and so it didn't go out.
Send it out.
I will send it out. You got it.
Well, we all know about the new, the website, right? We getting any quotes?
Yes, so we've got a lot of projects going on right now.
I know.
So this is gonna have to be over the course of the entire year, this fiscal year. So we've got, IT stuff we're working on, we've got grants that have just come in, we've got Collins Center stuff, we've got old grants, so, this will get done during this year.
Yeah, our intention of this is not ask for everything that we have here, but we mention it in every meeting so we don't forget about it.
Just a reminder.
You know, okay, that's an ongoing project, okay, good, you know.
So update website, can you add that to the list?
It is.
It is there.
Oh, new website, sorry. I skipped past it. You're good.
The only one I didn't have is the East Road dogs.
I do wanna talk to the new IT guys. I want them to introduce them to Red Dot
Sure.
and let them decide how they wanna handle it.
Okay.
Because it's something they could, have their own, they own it, like they own
I
all
have it
the
on my
other
computer.
things, or, I'll just come and install it everywhere.
Uh-huh.
But I don't wanna,
It's installed, isn't it?
we're getting a new version.
Oh, new version.
So we have to reinstall it again?
Yeah.
I don't even think my old version works then, because it's been a while.
That's why.
Well, it's a good thing you haven't used it.
So, I
Well,
wanna do
I use
everything
it.
before our, active shooting,
Okay.
okay? So, let them know that we have it and we're gonna install the new version, if they wanna get involved or.
They will have to get involved because you'll have to give you access to
So
everything,
I
yeah.
need to explain them how it works and how it is, so just in case they have a user, hey, what is this red dot over here?
Right, right.
They have to know.
Right.
So get me in touch with them so
Sure.
I can introduce them,
Yep.
and then we'll discuss with them how we do it, but I wanna do it before the active shooter.
Okay.
So at the active shooter, we can do a test in front of everyone.
Mhm.
And so everybody knows, we have active shooter training, which is Alice training, on October 23rd. It's a Wednesday here at the town hall at 1 PM.
1:30.
1:30? You said 1 PM. Are you sure it's 1:30?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on. If we're good with all this? Comments and concerns?
I don't have anything.
The comment is, we are going to, should go at the end, but Halloween is gonna end up on a Thursday, so we may not have a meeting that Thursday.
Right, we should.
Okay. Also, we have the fire department doing a spaghetti, and follow after, the school is gonna do a trunk or treat
Yep,
It's on the 26th.
on the 26th, yes.
it's the same day.
Yep.
So get your spaghetti and then go and get your candy.
Yeah, that's my plan.
And if you want to donate candy, they're looking for donations. So
Where do you donate it?
that would be, there's actually stuff all over Facebook about it. I think the school committee or the Parks Department is taking
I think
it?
it's Parks.
Parks?
Anybody on the public have any comments? or
Well,
concerns?
wait, so we're not gonna have a meeting on the 31st?
No.
No.
Okay.
Well, I wanna go trick or treat.
On the 24th, Jim and I aren't gonna be here. There's that
It's the
entree.
17th, I thought. Was it Rich?
24th.
24th, okay. Yeah.
No, 17th is National Grid.
National Grid, yeah.
And the Italian celebration
Oh,
thing
yeah.
with cannolis.
Well, now, on the 10th, you're not here though, right, Rich?
I'm not here.
So do we want to,
So we have a meeting on the 17th?
I won't be here the 17th. That is my birthday.
Oh, and you don't wanna be here?
I would had to be here for my birthday.
I didn't tell you you had to.
Yes, you did.
I don't remember that. That's mean.
I brought pizza on my birthday.
You wouldn't do that.
So
And then it was a
we will
long
have a
one,
meeting on
too.
the 10th, not on the 17th, but the 24th, and not on the 31st.
24th, I'm
we
good.
have that thing, right?
24th.
24th what?
I said Jim and I
Those two are not going to be
They are
here
not
on
gonna
the
be on the 24th, it's
24th.
just the three of us. Are
So,
you okay with that?
do you want to do the 17th?
No.
No.
Well, you cannot be here. It's okay, because he's going to be here.
Okay.
Oh, I usually take David's birthday off, too.
Yeah. It's a national holiday.
So then are we gonna have one on the 10th?
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna be here, you can't have it.
No, that's true.
Well, let's decide on the 10th. I know that's for the last.
Yeah,
one.
let's do the 10th. We got that one at least,
Okay.
because at least most of us will be here.
Okay.
Rich is entitled to a day off.
But it's, also, we're not gonna have on the 31st because it's Halloween
Right.
and we let them know, all the public, that there's
Trick or treating.
trick or treat, and we don't know exactly the hours, but they'll,
It's usually what? Oh.
it is a parade of.
Trunk or treat is from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Quabog Regional Middle High School.
That's the 26th. That's
That's
not
the 26th.
Halloween.
But the 31st,
On
there's a
the
parade in
31st.
West Warren.
It's like 5 to 7 or something.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. 7 o'clock is when the parade is, I think.
Parade is at 8, I think. And then
Oh,
they
we
do
never
a-
set hours for Halloween either.
That's
No,
what we're talking
That's what we're
about.
trying to do.
Well, I'm still catching up on the 26th.
Chief, are you involved with that, or is Adam?
It's Adam.
I thought it was 5 to 7, and the parade was at.
Yeah.
7:30, right? Or 7 o'clock. I know they
Yeah,
inter,
unless
they,
they tell me. Unless they right when it was ending.
If we can find out when the parade's actually gonna be,
So we can do
Mr.
it on
Farrar?
the 10th?
No?
find out exactly when the parade's gonna be,
Okay.
so we can set the hours
And
for
you
Halloween.
had a question? Did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't gonna skip number 15. We moved on to 16, just wanna make sure we're not gonna skip 15. You're setting the next meeting time, right?
To the 10th?
well, we kind of started off on
I
comments and
understand what happened,
concerns.
I've been listening to it.
It's one
For
of
what,
those
comments and
things.
concerns? It's not numbered. I got 9.
I
What's
got
number
9.
15?
On the posted agenda.
Well, What's
Looking at
what's
the
number
posted
15?
agenda.
15 is comments and concerns.
Oh,
All right, let's do comments and concerns,
Okay.
and then we can hash
You
out.
said you didn't have any comments and
No,
concerns?
I don't.
You said you didn't?
yeah, I didn't.
Public? No.
Would you guys like us to reintroduce ourselves if we've spoken previously or not? If we've spoken once, is that enough, or do we do it every time we come up?
No, I think that's fine, right?
Well, tonight, did you already?
Anytime I'm speaking before the selectmen, should I reintroduce? I spoke earlier today and I identified myself. I just want to make sure I'm doing the proper protocol. Should I reintroduce myself now that I'm talking during comments and concerns?
Yeah, I
think
And I'm-
because it's for the
that-
viewing audience.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Could you clear that out, Rich, so that the viewing audience can see who's speaking?
Oh, they still can.
They still can,
Yeah.
okay, that's great.
Because that's the.
So Ray Capaco, speaking as a resident, just out of a concern so that your old business list doesn't get longer, Mr. Chair, there was a great discussion with the assessor board earlier about moving a policy and procedure for moving things out of chapter land or putting them into chapter land, I suppose, as well. And the discussion bloomed out a little bit that covered quite a bit more territory. And I'm not sure who made the comment, but someone, maybe there were multiple people who said, we should do this, or something to that effect. I'm not quoting anyone, but the word "we" was clearly used. And so my question to the board, not that I need it, it's a rhetorical question. Who is "we"? And I only offer that for your own benefits so that when something like that gets talked about that needs to be implemented and acted on, you can't say, well, you can, you shouldn't say "we." Someone needs to be identified, or someones need to be identified, who's going to actually address when someone wants to split their property up or do any of the things that were discussed about, that were discussed. Who's going to establish those policies and procedures? Because it went way beyond the scope of assessors. And it included planning board and building inspector, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not sufficient because you're going to go on for the next several meetings. You may approve the assessor's policies and procedures, but if I want to split my property, well, there was actually something that got said about doing perk tests. I can have a perk test done on my property at any time. I don't need anyone's permission to get a perk test done on my property. And it doesn't matter what my intentions are. Obviously, there's an implication that you're getting a perk test because you're intending to do something like build. But if I'm not going to proceed with an intent to build until I get a perk test. And I don't have to notify anyone about that except for the authorities, well, first of all, a contractor to do the digging. And I suppose for it to be a valid perk test, I would need the Board of Health involved. But I don't need to notify the planning board. I don't need to notify the assessors. I don't need to notify anyone because I'm not going to do any further notifications. If the perk test fails, I'll just move on and elsewhere. But anyway, that's neither here or there. The real issue and why I'm addressing the board is simply don't just say we should do that. It's got to be more specific and it's got to be actionable.
You're absolutely right.
So that's all I had.
An example will be like we, the board, should do this. We, all the boards, or you, the board of X, Y, and Z should do.
Because we was you guys, the planning board, the assessors, the building inspector, the board of health. It was the whole town administration.
It's a complete valid point.
And the only one that didn't get mentioned, which it'll probably end up on, is Mr. Ferrara. So take it and run, Jim. But his name was not, or his office was not in that conversation. So anyway, it's just a be careful of that kind of thing because you'll have a ongoing old business thing unless that gets identified and acted on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Okay, our wonderful chief of police got a hold of our fire chief, and it said, got it from who? Lisa, okay. Usually it is from 5 to 6:30 for the trick-or-treating, or trick-or-treating.
In West Warren.
And the parade usually starts at 6:30 in West Warren.
That sounds about right.
I knew that they kind of overlapped though, because I was always wondering if somebody's at my house at 6:30 trick-or-treating, how are they going to make it to the parade at 6:30?
That's why everybody just trick-or-treats in West Warren Center.
That's true. That's why
To
I
be
always
safe.
have a whole bunch of candy left over.
Yep.
Okay. There you
Okay.
have it.
Yes, sir.
Joe Conrad, resident. In case nobody noticed that the gentleman that was sitting in the front row tonight, he's actually my cousin, David Delansky, who spent more than 10 years on that board. It's been quite a while since he's been in this room.
His name's on those pieces of paper up there quite a few times.
Yeah. Another thing I'd like to talk about is last Sunday's supply grazing. The gentleman who was in the electric wheelchair is 92 years old. He was a Korean veteran. And Lloyd Rice is a Vietnam veteran. When the flag started to raise, I should have said attention to colors. But it had skipped my mind because it's been quite a while since I've had to do that. And I am glad to see that everybody did attention to colors. I'm very grateful for it, David. You guys too. Now another thing has come up recently with the hurricane and flood through some 7 states. And the Red Cross, as you know, is heavily involved. They're asking for money rather than physical donations, because once they get to there, they will buy what's needed. So it's redcross.org. And the other place that is helping out, including making meals, is called Samaritan's Purse. If somebody can donate just $10 to each of them, it will help alleviate a lot of the disaster. But we have to think about this now. This is October, winter is coming, and a lot of these people don't even have a tent. It's hopefully that roads can be cleared so that help can drive in rather than being choppered in. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Just to add to that, if you go to Walmart and purchase anything, they actually have donations set up, so you can round up. And, you know, say if you spend $5.25, you can round up to $6, and they'll put the 75 cents towards disaster relief for the North Carolina.
Anybody else? Our next meeting will be on October 10th at 6 o'clock. You are not gonna be here,
I'm not?
okay?
You'll be missed.
Thank you.
And could we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Richi Hacker.
David Dufresne, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. It's a lot.